It's time for TWiT, episode 300. Yes, the Sparta episode. We will be imbibing thanks to Loic Meur. We'll be partying thanks to O Doctor. And we'll be talking about the latest phones, gadgets, and more thanks to Ryan Block and Joshua Topolsky. Episode 300. Cheers is coming up next.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Audio bandwidth for This Week in Tech is provided by Winamp for Android, the ultimate media player for your desktop and Android device, featuring wireless sync. Download it free at winamp.com/Android. Video bandwidth for TWiT is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com. This is TWiT, This Week in Tech, episode 300, recorded May 8th, 2011. Apparently, Dan knew exactly what to do. This Week in Tech is brought to you by GoToMeeting, the award-winning web conferencing service. For your free 30-day trial, visit gotomeeting.com/TWiT. And by Virtua Tennis 4. The #1 tennis series with motion control is back with new features available for Xbox, PS3, and Wii with motion control capabilities. To learn more and order online, go to sega.com/Virtua Tennis 4. And by Audible.com. Sign up for the Platinum Plan and get 2 free books. Go to audible.com/TWiT2. Don't forget to follow Audible on Twitter, user ID audible_com. It's time for TWiT This Week in Tech, and a great group of highly lubricated journalists will be joining us today. It was a difficult decision between the Chateau Neuf de Pape from Beaucastel or the Canadian whiskey with maple syrup. But we ended up going with the Chateau Neuf de Pape, and that's thanks to this fella here, Loic Meur, in studio with us, the guy behind Seismic, of course, and the creator of LeWeb. He's at Loic on Twitter. Nice to have you in the studio.
Thanks for inviting me again.
And I owe you, because you got me a special invitation to go to France in a couple of weeks for the EG8.
EG8. Yeah, well, I help them, you know.
Yeah, obviously.
You were invited anyway.
Me and Sarkozy, you know. Anyway, thank you. It's nice to see you again. Let's also say hello, as long as we're in studio, to Oh Doctor!
I'm a sorcerer with the magic of wine. Isn't that where these glasses came from? You guys play Dungeons and Dragons
Yes,
tonight?
yes.
Use these
That's
glasses?
it. These are Dungeons and Dragons glasses.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Also, via Skype, we're really glad to have Joshua Topolsky on the line from thisismynext.com.
How are you? Good to see you again.
This Is My Next is kind of like a sentence fragment.
This is my next. Well, it's a kind of a podcast meme for us. This is my next phone. Whenever I see a new phone that I want to buy, I exclaim, "This is my next phone," and it's become an ongoing joke amongst the team.
But actually, it works because you also can say, "This is my next project."
Yeah,
this is my next podcast.
It's open ended, which is good. This is my next. It's a temporary. It's the holder site for the next site. So it's
This
don't
is
get
my
too
next
attached.
girlfriend. This is my next dog. This is my next beer. This is my next
It really
snack.
works. It's a good meme.
No, it's wide open. You just throw anything in there.
Also with us, your erstwhile comrade from Engadget, another Engadget refugee, Ryan Block at Gadget.com.
Refugee. Let's not overstate the case here, Liam.
I think deserter is a more appropriate.
Oh, that's true.
I did see him the other night at the party. He was on a raft, so I could actually vouch for the refugee statement.
This is episode 300, so this is our Spartan episode. So I want you all, guys, I want you all to take off your shirt and show us your six-packs. Oh, Doctor, you can leave yours on.
Yeah, because I got a keg. I got the whole party covered. I don't have
Somebody said, I have a six-pack, but it's hidden behind the laundry pile. No, wait a minute, that's right. Well, I have washboard. See, I got it wrong. I have washboard abs, but they're hidden behind the laundry pile.
I got a washing machine. See, you do one thing at a time. I'm doing everybody's laundry. A six-pack, what's that, an hour? A keg
You're
all night.
multitasking.
I can handle a whole lot of people.
You're multitasking.
I'm doing big work over here. Big work.
I hardly know where to begin this week. There was so much news. We've got 3D transistors. We've got more bad news from Sony. We've got the Google I.O. conference coming up on Tuesday. But let's face it, the entire tech world is mesmerized by the only big story of the week, which is Kara Swisher versus Mike Arrington in a battle.
Really, you think people are mesmerized by that?
No,
story?
I'm just kidding. I'm being facetious.
I think maybe like 4 people are mesmerized.
As soon as I find out who Mike Arrington is, I will get into this
come
conversation.
On. You know who Mike Arrington is.
I blocked him from my brain. You know how you delete? Now you control alt delete things. Like I've literally blocked him a long time ago. Like I can only have room for so much douchebaggery in my brain, so I took that part of my brain out a long time ago. So
right.
I don't really know.
I have no idea who this Arrington fellow is. Of course,
I'll chime in.
They also offed Osama bin Laden this week.
Who's that?
Not really a tech story, but
well, there is a little bit of a tech story because there's that guy who live tweeted it.
Yeah, well, I mean, but if anything you tweet is a tech story, then everything is tech.
I guess you're right.
Anything could be tech.
I guess you're right. So we won't tell the tech of Osama bin Laden.
No, you can if you want to talk about
it. You know, it's one of those things where people are like, oh, we'll find out where it comes from first. And it did come from the internet first, and the internet is technology. So I understand that.
I personally was just glad that there was something else to talk about besides the royal wedding.
Exactly. It like bumped that right out of the gate. I mean, no goofy hats.
That was it.
$36 million of taxpayers' money on a wedding for rich kids.
£36 million. $60 million. Yeah.
$60 million. It's insane. I'm like, don't they already have money? Why are you using taxpayers' money? Isn't the world like having a problem with finances?
It is the taxpayers' money.
I know, it's crazy.
It was worth every penny to see that Victoria Beckham. Worth every dime.
So let me ask you, Loic.
And David Beckham.
Okay, Loic, you're for the wedding.
Let me not about the wedding.
I can talk about the wedding for hours.
I'm not gonna ask about the royal wedding. I'm gonna ask about the Arrington kerfuffle. So what happened? Mike Arrington, who is, as we all know, is the editor-in-chief of TechCrunch, which is absolutely, without question, the premier resource for people who want to follow what's happening in startups in the tech industry. He was purchased recently by AOL, as you guys who have worked for AOL might have some take on what the rules are for what Mike can say, but he did in fact post a blog post. You know, Mike had given up investing in tech a couple of years ago. This week he said, "All right, I'm investing again," and the reason I bring this up, I agree with you, Joshua. I don't think it's for real people. It's a story at all.
And button for the story, by the way.
Say again.
And button for the story. I want to get really comfortable. I'll let you know. God. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh my God! I didn't realize you were so hairy.
It's all hair from the neck down. Quite disturbing.
This is the Ron Jeremy of gadget reporting.
He's got a little chia pet underneath. He waters it every day, and it's just growing and growing.
That is really hurtful. His nickname is the Hedgehog. You're aware of that, right?
Hey, well, at least it's an African American chia pet. It looks like a black chia pet. So
Hey, you're not one to talk. You're the guy who posed topless and did a video, Old Spice video,
and it got me a lot of hits. I didn't know dropping the top gets so much attention. I know why the ladies do it. I didn't get as many singles thrown at me, but
I think you've got bigger breasts than most ladies.
I do. I'm probably rocking like a double D.
As long as you're not a double D, that's fine.
Should I button it back up? It seems like
you're really taking it downhill there.
Wait,
I got to blame you.
Talking about technology.
I was explaining to people on Twitter. They wanted me to unbutton, and I listen to the public. When they ask for something, I give it to them, no matter how gross it is.
Mike Arrington.
Yes.
Published a post in which he said, and the only reason I bring this up is it's relevant for, it's asking a very interesting question about conflict of interest and reporters in general, but particularly tech reporters. He said, as long as I disclose, it doesn't matter if I invest in companies that I cover. As long as you know this. Kara Swisher, who has her own conflict of interest, as Mike was quick to point out, her partner is a high-level executive at Google, and Kara, of course, still covers Google. As long as I disclose, it's okay. And maybe, am I old-fashioned to think that that's still not okay? That the problem with disclosures is that most people who read TechCrunch or All Things D don't bother to find out, don't go to the disclosure page, but just assume some kind of impartiality on the basis of the people writing. And when there is a gross conflict of interest, and you're writing about this stuff, I don't think it matters if you disclose. That's my opinion.
I actually disagree. I think you should assume zero level of impartiality.
Yes.
And like everybody completely
that makes me sad. And that's what Mike says, by the way. He says, even if, he says, every one of yous.
Well, think of it this way. I mean, from my perspective, like I don't own any companies or invest in companies, but when I look at someone, some of these people have 1 million followers. They have a broadcasting system. When they invest in something, they say they like it, they're pushing it out to a mass market, a mass medium. I mean, he has a company that does it.
Because they were featured on Twitter. That's the only reason they have more than 1 million.
Yeah, we know that.
But anyway,
Yeah, but I mean, people can broadcast now, and whether they own in something or not, people just assume that they do. Like somebody says something like, "Oh, do you own a part of that company?"
I'm trying to preserve this notion that there is something different between a journalist and a guy with a big Twitter following.
I think that's the thing is that speaks to the kind of blurring here of what's journalism, what isn't journalism, and what Mike and Kara were getting into is this debate about, he's kind of like, well, we're all flawed and we all have our allegiances, and it's just like what level of it and how much do we actually need to tell people and do we disclose it or not? I mean, I think that his basic premise that no journalists are objective is actually quite flawed. I think that you strive for objectivity or you don't, or you don't care about it. Like you don't actively, it's not something that's a problem for you. If you say, well, look, I kind of like this stuff. I'm just going to tell you up front that I'm a fanboy of this company or that I invested in this company. And that's just who I am as a journalist.
But there's a difference between I invest in this company, so I'll make money if I pump this company, and I like this company's products.
Well, but Leo, then where do you stop? Because you have people who take business class tickets to go around the world and visit a show with
I don't do that,
brand.
and I tell people not to do that.
Right, but many people do that. Some others do consulting, others do so.
The people who do that are losing their objectivity. I mean, at Engadget and at anything that we do in the future, what we're working on now, and Ryan knows this as well as I do. We didn't take flights, we didn't take hotels, we didn't go out to dinner with people and let them buy us dinner, and it just makes it easier, right? And you're not allowed to own stock in any companies you cover. You're not allowed to invest in any companies that we cover. And if you own stock when you join up, you have to get rid of it. I'm talking about Engadget. I'm talking about the future stuff that we're doing. So. That makes it really easy, just at a basic level, right? You just say, like, I'm not going to invest in this. So even if I like it a lot, or even if I think the people who run it are really cool, I have no monetary attachment
but you
to
have
that
friends,
company.
Joshua, right? You have friends. So
not me.
If you look, you have no friends.
It's interesting you say
He has
that.
no friends, actually.
One of the reasons that I don't go and hobnob with PR people or hobnob with CEOs is because I don't want to become friends with companies I cover, because it does make it very hard then to. What do you think about this, Ryan?
Well, I mean, there's a really broad spectrum, and Mike does bring up a lot of really valid points. I mean, you can try as hard as you want to be objective, but there's no such thing as objectivity. It's just shades of gray striving towards that. And as a journalist, you do the best that you can, or you try to do the best that you can. But yeah, I mean, things happen. You get snubbed for an interview or something. A friend of mine. He was on a flight to go to New York specifically for a press event, and he was in the seat. The door had closed, and he got the call saying that he shouldn't bother coming. So he wound up flying all the way across the country for nothing. It's impossible not to let something like that influence you in the slightest bit. This is impossible. There's nothing you can do or say about that. You will become influenced over time.
No,
it's really
and I'll cop to that.
how dramatic it is and how you treat those things.
But you think that informs, like, for us, you think that informed, if we got bad treatment from a company, that informed our review of the product? Because I don't think it does. I mean, if I have to deal with a PR person or with a situation that's really crappy, when I get the product, I don't go, I'm going to burn this product because of the way the people made me feel. It's like, you just have to distance, that emotional part of the way at least for me, you just say, like, okay, well, that sucked and that experience sucked and I have this emotional situation. But when it comes to, maybe it's easier for us because, we cover, we are very much covering products, right? So you can just say, like, I'm going to look at this thing in a vacuum. Like, I'm going to look at this product against other products of this type and say what I think of it. Maybe it isn't as easy when you're talking about investing in a company, though everything is kind of a product. So I don't know. It just seems like if you do have a situation like what happened with Brian, even if it sucks, and it did suck bad, there's no question, that doesn't affect the way you review the product, right? At least it doesn't for me.
But it can, Joshua,
ideally it shouldn't.
It can also not influence you. Sorry, it can also influence you on the other side, because Mike is an investor in my company, Seismic, and actually pretty much every time you wrote about it, which is not that much. And I can actually, say that he writes less when he's in it. So you probably don't want him to invest. But if he does, if you look at, what he wrote around Seismic, there's a huge tsunami going on us. This picture, when Twitter acquired TWiT and started going like after the ecosystem, you can see me on a beach, not naked with hair.
I actually remember that.
Yeah,
post.
with a huge tsunami. Like basically, he announced the death of my company. And he's an investor.
Well, that
right?
proves he's objective, actually.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I was pissed. I was like,
that picture was funny too. That's why I remember that.
My
post.
board emailed me and said, "Hey, I'm not sure you want investors like this to trash you, right?"
But there you go. That shows
the
you.
Problem?
That's.
I mean, isn't that the problem with investing in a company that you cover, where you ever have to even think of that situation, where you have to deal with it, or he has to deal with it?
We deal with something similar. When a tech company buys advertising on here, it kind of makes me want to bend over backwards to give them less coverage. So I have to say that you're right that there is always a conflict of interest.
Can't you give coverage that's fair and objective, like the way you are? Like I feel like knowing you and the way you are and the way you do things, like if you had to speak on something, whether you're an advertiser or not, and sometimes it might be bad, you're going to be honest.
I try to be honest.
And that's what you hope that Mike would do, or anyone would do.
Lobster in our chat room says, journalism doesn't exist anymore. He says, let me see if I can find this because I love it. It's a great quote. It scrolled past. Let me go back here in the chat room.
Well, I think just really
journalism doesn't exist anymore. Oh, well, go ahead.
This gets to the real question, I think, about this, which is not like, is it good to be an investor and disclose it, or if you're married to somebody, to disclose it? I think the real question here is, are we actually talking about different levels of, like, are we talking about journalism here, or is it something else?
Right.
Is what Kara considers journalism the only journalism?
No.
Or is what Mike does something different and something new?
Right.
And I'm not saying whether it's, I'm not saying it's better or worse, but it's certainly different. And certainly his standards are different than Kara's standards. I don't know how much Mike talks about himself being a journalist or being, a real journalist.
He even says in that post, he says what we do is new and different. Here it is. Lobster says, journalism doesn't exist anymore, just a bunch of judgmental sacks of ego that worry more about selling sensationalism than bringing out the truth.
It's all about the headlines.
I do think that there are different kinds of. There is the traditional old school reporter who doesn't, in theory, insert any opinion at all. It's just the facts, ma'am. But,
right, and unfortunately, that format is dead. Nobody reads that anymore.
Right.
It's not even the fact that it doesn't sell. It's that people literally just don't care about that kind of reporting. It's very hard to get context or extra knowledge, or I think there is actually value in opinion, and then that's something that we never tried to stifle at Engadget. It was never the goal was never to be perfectly objective and never to state your opinion. It was to have a personality and to have a voice.
Right.
And that's actually really important.
But the voice, and I think what's important there, that distinction, is that the voice was, I think we try to be, and I continue to try to be, the voice of the consumer and the reader, not the voice of a company. So I think whenever our opinion, and Ryan, I feel like this was definitely true in so much of what you wrote at Engadget and continue to write, where you're not advocating for a company, you're really advocating, your voice is speaking as the voice of a consumer who's either fed up or disappointed or annoyed with.
That's what I've always thought of myself doing as well. Yeah.
And I do think that that's like an important distinction. It's like, I feel like you don't have to worry if your main goal is to speak for the consumer. You don't have to worry about, you're not investing in a company or in sleeping with somebody from a company. Then it's like your main concern is, you can have an attitude, but that attitude is a much more centralized, or sort of not neutral, but
well, isn't it true that once you're expressing opinion, that throws everything out, because any opinion is influenced by a variety of biases. That's what opinion is. So there's facts and there's opinion. If fact-based journalism is out the window, then all we have is opinion-based journalism. Then Mike Arrington's right. It's all tarnished by bias.
And to this point, he's got enough coverage on it. Either way, it's been disclosed. Like they say, oh, it's been put away. Nobody knows about disclosure. Now everybody knows about disclosure. So every time,
I feel bad for.
There's also this issue of expectations too. I mean, I don't really think that people expect TechCrunch to be, this paragon of, Pulitzer Prize winning journalism. I mean, just the same way, whether or not we wanted it to be this way or not, Engadget, I don't think is thought of that way either. I mean, these are new publications. They didn't exist 10 years ago. They didn't exist in some cases 5 years ago. And people now, I think they come to these sites with certain expectations, and really they just want a need fulfilled. And I don't think that people view these things, sitting on a very fancy lounge with a snifter of brandy and a pipe and thinking, oh, this is not objective enough. I mean, it's a contact sport.
And in the
That's
past,
not how you read news, Ryan, with the brandy.
That's how I do now. Yes,
smoky jacket.
It's very leisurely.
in the past, as far as journalists go, you looked up to journalists. You never had a chance to talk to them or hear their inner thoughts outside. Now you've got all these people have their own blogs, their Twitter, their Facebook, and you can just go and feel what the person's about. So you really get to learn their opinion and how they like things and the way that they feel about things and what they're passionate about. So people align themselves with people that they like.
Are we better off?
I think so.
I think so too.
You think
Even
we're better
with the
off?
news, because we're talking about tech here, and honestly, when someone writes about anything in general about news, I actually would rather like to know more how who he is, what he thinks, and so on. And what I see is that I'm starting in the general news to follow more and more people and start to learn about them more than brands and New York Times and so on.
When you
I
read
follow them and I know about them. I trust someone, right?
When
a
you read
journalist.
something good, you want to reach out to look and see what else they're thinking about, what else they're talking about. You're like, wow, I connect with them on this level. Let me go more, and you can do that now. You got guests sitting here every time I come here.
As someone who is doing this day to day, I think we are better off. I think with, the Arringtons of the world and the Swishers of the world, I mean, I think there's room for all of them. I think that the hard and fast rules of mainstream media have gone away, or certainly have been diluted in some way. But, some of those rules were good and some of them weren't. And I think that we need, right now we're in this kind of in-between period where we're still finding a way to filter some of the noise. So you've got people who are completely tainted and people who are completely terrible at their jobs, acting, in the same capacity as people who are actually quite good at their jobs. And we need to, find ways to filter that stuff. And I think that we're getting better and better at filtering the bad stuff from the good stuff. But I also think that we're seeing more and more bad stuff getting thrown at us. So it makes that a little bit more challenging. But I mean, overall, I think having choices and variety in news is actually really powerful. And to be able to pick and choose and see what bubbles up and figure out what for you feels right and true is really valuable.
Exactly.
I think we also need to kind of remember here. I mean, we forget, right? Like we live this stuff. This is our world. Like this is everything that we do. For most people, it's an attraction. It's a sideshow. It's really not that important. I mean, we're not reporting on governments being overthrown. We're not reporting on this is not. Woodward and I mean, this is not Watergate. This is just technology, and it's very hard to remember that sometimes.
Well, I think when it comes
we want to strive to do the best job possible, and Josh knows, I know that what works for Arrington and TechCrunch is not necessarily what we used to do at Engadget, but I think we also shouldn't treat this as though journalism is dying.
So you're saying
because technology journalists are not necessarily as unbiased as they should be.
We're more like sports talk radio than we are like the New York Times.
Ryan is right in a way when you get right down to it. I mean, the iPhone, it's a great product, and I'm sure somebody would say, "Oh, it saved my life," but I mean, it's not
life or death.
A crucial. Yeah. I mean, when you get really down to it, the brass tacks, it is. We are talking about consumer electronics and consumer technology services, and it's like, if Twitter went away, it would be kind of boring for a little while or suck, but nobody would die. No governments would. Well, maybe some governments
people would be out of a
job. But I think that at the end of the day, this isn't. It's not Osama bin Laden. It is an Android handset. So there are differences. I mean, I think people still need to be objective, and I think people still need to be honest. But I mean, sideshow is hurts a little bit. But I do think that Ryan is accurate in saying that real news is still happening. Big news is still broken by real journalists who are in war zones, who are literally getting shot and killed to cover news. And that is, I think, pretty clearly more vital and important than covering smartphones.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Look, technology is the industry of the future. Technology is the next industrial revolution. Right? We all know that as well as anyone too. So, I mean, I don't want to also kind of undercut the point by saying technology doesn't matter. But I mean, the reality is technology media is really not the same. You're exactly right. We're not getting shot and killed taking photographs of iPhones.
And Leo is very, very sensitive about this, because I actually remember he's not talking about it, but you had Harrington here and you stopped the show, right? when he told you about
he
this.
He accused me of this.
It was a palm. What was it?
He said Mike,
phone. He accused you of having had the phone for free,
Mike,
and that's why you talked about it, and you
Mike
blew
had a
the
theory.
whole show. We should do that. Like,
Mike had a theory that Palm had sent Palm Pre's to people who they knew would give positive reviews. He didn't get one, so it was his opinion that anybody who got a Palm Pre as a loaner for review was in Palm's back pocket, and he accused me of that.
I remember this vividly because I was reviewing the Pre at the time, and I have to say, Michael Arrington didn't get a Palm Pre because he doesn't review phones.
Right.
And that's the long and short of it. And like only recently has he gotten his hands on, and I think it's only Google products, because he has a relationship with Google and because he covers Google products, so it kind of makes sense. But like the thing about it is, and I really remember distinctly being upset about that. I think the problem with Arrington in this whole situation is that he thinks that everybody will act the same way he acts given the same level of that. I mean, he's basically like, look, you're going to have a bias because that's how human beings are. And I think it's not necessarily true that just because you get a product.
Joshua, he's just amazingly good at getting attention. Look, we've been talking about him for 20 minutes.
That's really, if nothing else, Mike is very good at drawing the.
To my point of his disclosure, he's got it out there.
And the last time, when he went after Engadget and went after me, it was like a week before his awards show. And somebody mentioned to me, they were like, it's weird. He always seems to have this controversy right around when he's doing a conference or a show. And I have to say, I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility. This is all just a publicity stunt so people can be reminded that TechCrunch and Arrington are having
and it's another beach meme. He owns Tech Meme for the weekend, right? So.
Right.
All right, we're gonna take a break on this subject and talk a little bit more about tech, including did CBS and CNET profit from LimeWire? As Alki David asserts, he's suing CNET, saying it's all your fault. But first, let's talk a little bit about. You guys can take a break. We got a great panel here. Way too many brilliant people. Loic Meur from Seismic.com. Doctor from
Can I get that in writing?
HippoNinja.com.
Brilliant.
Hippo Ninja?
Yeah.
Hippo Ninja. What is that?
I'm building a project and I can't afford the domain I want, so I'm building under that while I get some money
until you get some money
to buy the domain I want.
Joshua Topolsky from My Next. What the hell thing?
This is my next.
This is my next.
My next hair.
My next.
Chia.
Yeah. Look, somebody told me that Mike was rubbing against my shirt, so I'm just gonna try to.
I think it's your chest hairs, not your shirt.
Could be.
And Ryan Block, who's quite wisely just decided to say, I'm not going to say anything. From GDGT. You just had that. I'm sorry we didn't come to your event on Friday. Both my anchors fell ill.
I think you had people there.
We did. We get stuff.
It wasn't live stream.
Yeah, we were going to live stream it. We did get stuff. And,
Leo, I'll forgive you this one time.
I'm going next time. Next time I'm going. I
Okay.
never get sick. And I'll be there next time. I promise you. Meanwhile, let's talk a little bit about my friends at Citrix. You see, I'm compromised. I can't. They're my friends. I love these guys. Citrix, of course, everybody knows is the enterprise remote access that is so popular for Windows. But they also have great consumer products. And I do confess, we use GoToMeeting all the time. People, when they have meetings with us, always get the special GoToMeeting email that says, yes, we're going to have our meeting. GoToMeetings includes a conference bridge, so there's a phone number in there. They also include voice over IP, so you can use your built-in access and your microphone and your camera on your computer to do it. It is just the best way to hold meetings online. Simple for your clients or customers or colleagues because they just press a button. They click that link that they got in the email, and boom, 30 seconds later, it's running on their system. They don't have to have it installed ahead of time. Absolutely secure, 128-bit SSL. It is completely clean, completely secure, and really great for sales presentations, for product reviews, demos, status meetings. We even use it for our plain old conference calls because you never know when you're going to want to show somebody something on the screen. So we just set them up with GoToMeeting, and we've always have that capability. And what's neat is your clients can show you their screen. It goes back and forth. It goes two ways. For Mac and Windows, Citrix has won just about every award for web conferencing in the industry. And, of course, customers who love it. I want you to try it free for 30 days. GoToMeeting.com/twit. GOTO. meeting.com/twit. Before your next meeting, before your next conference call, just visit GoToMeeting and give it a try. It's absolutely free for the next 30 days. GoToMeeting.com/twit. So does anybody know?
I can't believe you've not been paid to say that.
I was heavily paid to say that. Are you
Yeah.
kidding? That cost him a mint.
It feels like you're being a little disingenuous here, a little.
Yeah,
like
no, I
a
agree. I understand. I mean, when we first started TWiT, I mean, to be honest, I didn't want to do ads. I thought, well, I would love to do this without ads, but there's no way we could do it without
But
ads.
you don't put products like this which you consider suck, basically, right?
We're very selective. We've turned down.
No, seriously, I bet
We've turned down a significant amount of money from companies that I couldn't do an ad for. So
right,
one of the
you can't
reasons,
seriously say,
yeah, but that doesn't let me off the hook. I mean, there's still a conflict of interest. One of the deals we made is that we would have a handful of advertisers, not a lot of them, and all of them would be companies that we had direct experience with, and we could endorse. And we only do ads. We don't do roll-in ads. We only do ads where it's me talking about, or Tom, or Sarah, or Amber, or whoever's hosting our shows, talking about products that they use. So we try to, that's why it's audible. That's why that's why I drive a Mustang. That's why, that's what we do. So, but still, it's the same issue. But, I don't consider us, to be honest, I don't consider us fact-based reporters. This is punditry, right? So inherently, there's biases. I try to be as fair and balanced as I can. Uh-oh, did we lose Josh? Joshua, are you still there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Your camera has disappeared.
That is odd. I switched mics. Oh, that might be the problem.
Skype 5. I just loathe.
No. This is Skype 2. I switched mics. Is that any better?
Yes.
People are saying my shirt was scratching. I've been having a lot of shirt problems tonight. Basically.
Just take it off. It's episode 300.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're on the same mic you were on before. I don't know if you switched to that.
I am? Are you sure?
Well, tap it again. No, that's right. You're on the right mic.
I'm on that mic.
Yep.
Okay. Great. Terrific. Am I too far away? I can get really, really close. Is that cool?
This is the first time in my memory at all that Ryan Block has not said a word. I don't know. I don't know if it's because of you, Joshua.
I'm live tweeting this right now.
It's disgusting. He's too disgusted by my
Does anybody know, Alki David? Is there any merit to this crazy lawsuit against CNET? He says that CNET and CBS, by extension, because they own CNET, promoted LimeWire and effectively promoted software piracy and music piracy. He says, quote,
That's a stretch.
That's a little much. He says, quote, CNET had direct participation in massive copyright infringement on peer-to-peer systems such as LimeWire that are used to copy, distribute songs, films, and other artistic works. He says Download.com, which is a CNET site, was the main distributor of LimeWire. Of course, LimeWire is peer-to-peer. Peer-to-peer networking is not illegal.
Basically, they could have got it from anywhere, first of all. Secondly, you can't control what people do with it once they download it. And you can say whatever you want to say about what people used it for. A lot of people used it legitimately as well as illegitimately.
Really? What could you download legitimately with LimeWire?
Before, what I used to use it
Shareware?
for, I used to actually share videos with my brother.
Oh.
But there were videos that we took a family.
Oh.
And it was just the easy way because he's retarded. Sorry, Jason. But my brother doesn't know anything. But I was like, I shouldn't have said that.
Is he actually developmentally disabled,
my
or is he just
technologically handicapped?
He's a moron.
If he touches a computer, it breaks down.
Okay.
And I would send him pictures and videos, and I would try to email them. They were too big, so I set them up with LimeWire, and I would send them to my brother. So I used it for legal purposes, and some people would have reason to do that also. And I'm sorry,
I believe I owe Joshua Topolsky an apology. When I said the word moron, I switched right over to him. So,
Oh, wow. Yeah, but you actually, this seems more upsetting than just having done that little thing.
moron.
And then you just go to me for comment because you know how much I hate moron.
All right, moving along. It's a dumb story. I'm sorry I even brought it up. Moving along, China has got the iPad. In fact, long lines and fisticuffs broke out. 4 people were injured in the Beijing Apple store trying to get an iPad 2. That's not a story either.
Can we talk about that kiss machine they made for the internet where you kiss a box and it kisses you back?
Yeah, the French kiss machine.
Yeah.
It's the long-distance French kiss machine. You should know something about that, Loic. You're French.
I don't, but what's your definition about French kiss?
You kiss this thing, and then it sends the transmission of the pressure of the kiss to another machine, and then it kisses
Fake
you on the
tongue.
other side.
Is it a French kiss?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's tongue-based.
With tongue and everything.
Yeah. So you kiss the box,
But
and
you
the box
guys
kisses
don't
you.
kiss with
They
tongue.
can do
in
more
the
than
US?
kissing with
Is
that,
that
I
what you
think.
mean?
No,
No,
but you
you're
get
just
credit
better
for
at
it.
it.
No,
You're
but
French.
listen.
Oh, we're better
You
at it.
invented
Yes,
it.
you invented it. It's got your name in it.
Okay.
So you should know everything about it.
Yes.
Yeah, I can give you a crash course if you like.
Leo, let's go. Crash course, Sparta.
Should I unbutton this shirt again?
Anyway, yes, right. Anyway, I'm not sure about the kissing a machine thing.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Story number 4. Rupert Murdoch, despite the fact that they have 800,000 subscribers to the Daily, they're losing $10 million a month. The Daily not doing all, or I'm sorry, $10 million in the first quarter of operation. Surprise, Ryan Block?
Well, maybe they would be losing less money if they stopped trying to be subjective.
There's their mistake. Journalism. It kills you every time.
I think
it was a big investment. It's a big gamble.
Yeah.
No question.
It's
and they've been totally screwing it up. Because
Isn't it true,
they
though?
have no web strategy.
Isn't it true, though, that people like us are rooting against them?
I don't think so. I think that we all just had a lot of really bad experiences with the app early on. I mean, they actually did something really smart, which is to start by giving it away to everyone for the first few weeks of its existence. That was great. I mean, that's a great way to get people hooked. The problem is you can't get people hooked on an app that's garbage.
Yeah.
And they took too long to get the app in good shape. What little web strategy they had, they just made worse. I mean, it's just they're trying to lock their media ecosystem for the Daily into a device. And the problem is media is not about devices now. So this whole strategy is a little bit wrong-headed.
Especially when you have so much competition out there that's just beautiful and elegant in that market. I mean, it's news, it's media.
And free.
And I can find it somewhere else.
And not 99 cents a week.
And if I can find it somewhere else that looks better and works better, then why would I not? I mean, a trusted source, whatever, but it's got to work to start. It has to work.
I think the problem is, honestly, there's something weird about this disconnected experience. It's what Ryan was saying about their web experience being bad. There's something that strikes me as very odd with today's culture and the way people are used to getting news and learning to get news now. I understand that Rupert Murdoch thinks that the iPad is his opportunity to gain ground or get back ground that he feels he's lost because of the decline of print media. But I don't think it's that simple of like a 1-2 step, right? Like I don't think it's just like it's there and it's sort of magazine shaped. Therefore, an iPad magazine should immediately be effective to people, or an iPad newspaper. I think the biggest issue is the lack of a really solid, meaningful web strategy, because I think that people live and work on the web. They are staring at their computers, and even when they're on an iPad, they are very often looking at the web in real time as it happens. The Daily is not in real time. It's not as it happens. It doesn't feel connected to what's going on in the rest of news and the rest of the web, and I think that makes it a less exciting and desirable experience, at least for me. Also, the app's bad. I mean, it was bad, and there are issues with it. And
they've tried to emulate the publishing model that they're familiar with, which is publish once a day, or occasionally more often if there's an emergency, if there's a really big story. But that what you do publish kind of goes out there in a big lump, and it's just sits there until the next release cycle.
What's a download for the Daily? Like what is the size of it?
It's really big.
How
but
big
I mean, the point is like the media, the whole medium has changed. Not just the media, but the whole medium is completely different now. And it's not just about being on the web. I mean, I think that there's a lot that I think we all agree their web strategy is totally screwed. I mean, they blew that one so far. But it's about learning what works on the web and applying that back to the iPad. And, if you're just using the iPad as a stand-in for paper, and using small movies as stand-in for images from that paper, then you've still lost it, right? It's about taking what we learned about how to make a publication work on the web and using those learnings to create something that's even better.
I mean, do you remember when people were putting like magazines on CD-ROMs, like in the early to mid-90s?
This is really the same thing.
Yeah, they were like, this is the future. You're gonna be able to watch little QuickTime movies and have all this interactive content. It's like, that didn't work then. I mean, when you had to take a 650 megabyte CD-ROM.
At least you could update
it. It didn't work then. And downloading, just because it happens every day, downloading the 800 meg file or whatever just doesn't feel
right.
It doesn't feel right to me.
Isn't that funny? It is about the size of a CD-ROM every week or every day.
I like Wired's app, like their interactive stuff that they have that go on in there, the little things that go on when I read that. But that's
Loic has brought a tablet with him. I don't know if anybody has seen this. We're going to talk about that in just a second. Actually, what's on the tablet is what people have not seen.
Yeah, because the tablet,
The tablet everybody's seen, but what's on the tablet nobody has seen. We will talk a little bit more about Skype, some big news there, and an IP address. According to a judge, an IP address does not a person make. We'll talk about that in just a little bit, too. Loic Meur is here. Oh, Doctor, Joshua Topolsky, Ryan Block. You're watching the 300th episode of TWiT. Hey, we got a new sponsor. I want to welcome. They took their time. They finally got here after 300 episodes. Sega. Every time I say Sega, I want to say Sega.
Yes, nice and slow.
Or Sega. Sega. It's actually Virtua Tennis. Have you guys played it yet? I just got a copy, kind of an advanced copy of it. Virtua Tennis came out in 1999 as an arcade game. You've seen versions on the PC, all the consoles, portable platforms. In fact, the last Virtua Tennis, 2009, was on everything. But now, Virtua Tennis 4 is here, and I think they've done something brilliant. It works with motion control. It works with the Move if you have a PlayStation 3. It works with the Kinect if you have an Xbox 360. If you've got a Wii, of course, it works with the Wii controllers. And I think tennis is such a great game and such a natural game for playing with one of those controllers or with a Kinect. 19 star players: Rafael Nadal, Federer, Murray, Sharapova, Wozniacki, Williams. Who's your favorite, Loic? I know you're a tennis player. You look like a tennis player.
Oh, totally.
Are you a Wozniacki fan or a Sharapova?
I'm not sure about that.
I'm a
kitesurf fan more.
Kitesurf. Oh. You're on the new World Tour featuring a career mode, which now goes RPG as well, so no two careers are ever the same. Each decision in the game affects your career path. That means that every time you play, it's different. Also, a new off-court fame element. I like that. Nowadays, when you're talking about, especially when you're talking about the women tennis players, that's a big deal. Lots more mini-game features, including weather conditions, multiplayer and online modes. That'd be fun to play tennis with somebody else.
Could we be tennis buddies? I'll get
online. Wouldn't that be fun? Would you play tennis with me?
Yeah, definitely.
You play doubles?
Yeah, definitely.
Doubles.
Let's do this.
Let's all play.
That's right.
Do it right now. Why are we doing?
Why are we doing a show?
Let's play tennis.
Let's play tennis.
Well, tennis is one of the actual games that when you get to use doubles, it's actually fun with all the sensor machines.
I love tennis.
And stuff.
I love it. And as you play, your player grows. This is interesting. Your player grows in confidence, so your form and your shots change as your player gets more comfortable in the match. And there's a community hub. It's using the Virtua Fighter 5 technology, which is very sleek.
It is. And that Virtua Fighter 5.
Have you played it?
I love Virtua Fighter 5.
Awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, the fighter game
imagine.
Is awesome. That's why I was like, oh, tennis.
Taking your character. No, I don't know if you could do that.
No,
that would be awesome.
It'll be.
You're just making
it'll be a fun
features
game.
up for this now.
I am. I'm inventing features.
Imagine you could.
Imagine you could do this. Well, you can't. But if you could,
if it's using that engine, you could create your own player, and he could be.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Pretty bad.
And then there will be
Sega,
online. Sega's awesome. The online tournaments will give somebody a Virtua Tennis championship. You can find out more if you go to the website sega.com/Virtua Tennis 4. It's fun. I was playing it all last night, and it's really, really awesome. I have the Kinect.
So wait, so when you play the Kinect, you just use your hand?
Yeah.
See, now that I got.
No, look, watch.
I want to play it on the Move, on the PlayStation, or on my Wii.
You can get the Move. Do you have?
Yeah, I have a Move.
But you don't have to have anything in your hand. You just go like this.
So you just okay.
So it's like handball.
Yes.
Except imagine you have a racket.
It's like racquetball.
Because your hand's not hitting it; it's hitting right out here.
Yeah. The Kinect is amazing though how it works. I was surprised.
It's all virtual, right? I can
also do here, watch. Loic will play.
Oh my God! Let me put my 3D glasses on.
Love 4.
Is this in 3D?
Was I showing my ass?
Loic, do you? Yes, you were showing your.
Thank you, Sega. Virtua Tennis 4 is so live it's real.
Thank you. In fact, that was exactly
a lot of male flesh in this episode.
This is Glee for tech geeks, is what this is.
Weird things happen when I get on Twitter.
It's you, oh doctor.
It's not normal.
It's you.
It's
you. I blame you. I
never
blame you.
normal.
I blame you. By the way, happy Mother's Day. Did you all call mommy? Those of you whose mothers are still with us.
So shout out, my mom's evil, but shout out to my boy Drew's mom, Linda, who loves the show.
You have
she
so
watches the
slimed
show.
your family. Your brother's retarded. Your mom is evil.
My brother, I love my brother. I told you I made a mistake. I shouldn't have said that. My brother knows he's technologically impaired, but my mom's just a bad person. But my friend's mom, Drew, Linda, she loves your show.
You can't wish Happy Mother's Day to somebody else's mom.
I can. She's a wonderful human being. She's a great mom, and she makes dinner for me sometimes. Right. She lives in my South Jersey area. She's a wonderful woman. So Happy Mother's Day, Linda.
Linda, Happy Mother. Anybody else want to use the reach of TWiT to wish their moms a Happy Mother's Day? I called my mom this morning. I don't have to. Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
I spoke to my mother today.
Did you?
In the morning. Well, I went on, I did a little spot on MSNBC earlier, and every time I'm on TV, my parents freak out and they call everybody they know. And so I told her, she was like, what a great gift for you to go on TV for me. I was like, well, it wasn't.
I did it for you, Ma.
But I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I actually build TWiT for my Ma so she can watch me at home. That's the whole point for this, is because Mom wanted to be part of my life.
And that's why you do it on Sundays.
Guy.
So you make sure
I'm
you
a
always
thoughtful guy. Anybody else? Loic?
Well, you know, in Europe, in France, it's not the same date. So this is not a unified worldwide
Wait
phenomenon.
a minute. How
It's
did
just
that
a commercial
happen?
thing that people just decide.
But you have a Mother's Day.
Yes, we do. And
What do you
it's
call
not
it? La journée de la
La
mère?
fête des mères.
The fête de mère.
Yes, and it's not today. So
Fête
there's no
means
point
party.
in calling my mother.
Wait a
today.
minute.
When is it in France?
It's Mom. It's a party for Mom.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
what
I
day?
was hoping you would not ask that question.
He doesn't know.
Is it a made up holiday in France as well?
It's
I mean, is it
totally
like a Hallmark?
commercial, so that
You've
but
heard of Le Marque des Halles?
There is the Father's Day. Do you have a Father's Day?
Yeah, we have Father's Day.
Okay, then there is the.
Is it called the Fête de Père?
There is the Dog's Day. Do you have a Dog's Day?
No, Fête de
we need a
Chien.
Dog's Day.
You have
And
a
that's
Dog's
holiday
Day?
I can
No,
do myself.
Actually, I bet there is a Dog's Day. There's an everything day. There's got to be a
There
Dog's
should be a
Day.
Dog's Day.
There's definitely a Dog's
There
Day.
has to be a Dog's Day.
There's
yeah.
definitely.
There
Someone
was
in
I
the chat
really
room,
don't see why not.
call it Dog's Day.
The Parisians love their dogs. There's dog poop everywhere.
Yeah, well, there's a day for everything anymore. Everything has a day.
They love their dogs and they hate their fellow citizens.
Right. That's pretty much, that's it right there. No, I love
I mean,
Paris.
if there's dog crap everywhere, you know, I actually did notice that when I was.
I think it's gotten better. It used to be a big problem.
busy
People
eating that,
would
really.
just wouldn't curb their dogs in Paris, but it's gotten better.
It got a little better, but you have to be very careful.
Walk with your head down.
Yeah.
Walk with your head down.
Are you doing LeWeb again
I'm
this year
very
in
impressed
December?
when people actually pick it up and so on. You would never see anyone pick up
Yeah.
dog shit in Paris.
Not in Paris.
Yes, I'm doing the web without transition.
The nice thing, we invite you to Paris and see the dog.
Speaking of dog crap.
See le merde de chien for yourself. No, but the nice thing about LeWeb, it's during winter, so it's all frozen and.
Exactly.
If you step in
can't
dog
walk
crap, and you
anyway.
just-
Popsicle
Yeah,
poop.
right.
It's excellent. It's a great time.
Come on, guys.
Come
There isn't
to
only
France.
dog shit in Paris.
LeWeb is no. In fact, I love Paris. LeWeb is a wonderful conference every December. You're gonna do it in December again?
Yes, December 7, 8, 9. We're doing 3 days this year. And you were there last year. We got
So much
Ryan
fun.
was there last year too.
Yeah, Ryan was there. That's right. And
we got,
Veronica. Yeah, it was
yeah,
so
it was
much
great.
fun.
It was wonderful, except for the
Loic,
part where
you
we just got
invited me to come.
completely snowed in.
I liked that part.
And we had to walk for like about a half a mile in completely iced over sidewalks. Everybody was slipping everywhere. It was amazing.
It was fun. I did that. We walked to the metro station.
I
Yeah, it
have
was
to
fun.
say, I have done that with Geraldine, my wife, as well, at 2 a.m. after our party, and we were organizing the thing. We walked, she
boy.
was barefoot. But yeah, we didn't control the snow, and I have to say, this did not happen like in 10 years or something.
Right.
But yeah,
I actually liked it. I thought it was cool.
yeah, we wanted to make it look like Davos, so that's why we ordered snow. It looks exactly the same.
And
now.
tell me about this EG8 summit. Now, it looks like I'm not going to be able to go. Unfortunately, my daughter's ill, and so I have to stay back, unfortunately. But Jeff Jarvis will be going, which is great. And a lot of big-name internet entrepreneurs and thinkers. And this is at the invitation of President Sarkozy.
Yeah, I'm not organizing this, but
You advised them. There's no way they knew who I was if it weren't for you. I got a great letter from Sarkozy, big envelope. It said, Léo Laporte, fondateur de TWiT. I thought that was so cool. I don't know what a fondateur is, but I'm glad to be one.
Well, you spoke at LeWeb. They were at LeWeb.
Oh, that's
good.
Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, I help them now and then. I'll be there, of course. I think it's good that they're trying to, make a big event in France and
to find out. The point is to prepare a paper for the G8 summit about the internet and economies, and how important the internet is to economies, And I would hope, now Sarkozy's not known for this, but how important a free and open internet is.
Well, if you think about, I think what's going to be central is job creation. If you think about, Facebook and Zynga and, Twitter, how many jobs they created. I think Zynga created nearly 2,000 jobs in San Francisco.
Right.
In the last, 2 years?
San Francisco still is...
It's amazing.
Everywhere in the U.S., bad economy, downturn, San Francisco commercial rents, everything through the roof because it's still a success. Seismic's a San Francisco company, is that right?
Right. We haven't created 2,000 jobs, though.
Yeah, but I'm interested because there's been some conversation about people moving out of San Francisco because of the payroll taxes on options.
Yeah, I just sent a mail to the Meur yesterday because of the tax on stock options and, Ron Conway.
This is unusual. This is not typical for a city to tax stock options.
People leave San Francisco because of, we don't, but...
there was some concern that Twitter might leave. I know they changed the rules a little bit so that Twitter wouldn't. Skype perhaps for sale. There seems to be a bidding war between Google and Facebook, either for a partnership or, according to GigaOM, an outright acquisition of Skype. Malik says we'll find out by Monday, and probably as we speak. Skype attorneys and management are burning the midnight oil trying to plan something. Anybody know what's going on?
This one, the new Skype. So we've all played with Skype 5. We all know how horrible they've turned
That's
the
part of the negotiating deal. They have to redo it completely.
Please let her
Skype is one of the only companies who I like them better when they were languishing at the larger company that had acquired it.
That's true.
They became independent and then they just
How much did eBay pay for Skype? It was billions of dollars.
I think it was 1.7 billion, 1.4 billion. Over $1 billion. It was insane.
Amazing. And now they're
thinking behind that. Where were they going with that?
No one knows.
Meg
they
Whitman.
did nothing, right?
We didn't exactly elect her to mayor or to governor of the great state of California.
Yeah.
Based on that purchase, right?
Basically, I mean, who would give her billions of dollars at this point? I mean, she just completely screwed eBay.
So why would Google or Facebook even be interested in Skype? Actually, wait a minute, though. Let me think about this. If you could embed within Facebook video calling.
Well, it would just be integrated, wouldn't it? I mean, you would just build it in as a Facebook app.
Wow.
That would be really powerful. I mean, Google already has a product that sort of does what Skype does, right?
Google has Google Chat.
Yeah, well, right. And they're expanding, Google Voice is, it's a little bit of what Skype does.
Android phones in 2.3.4, Android phones will have Google Talk will have video. It'll be like FaceTime on an Android phone. So Google's kind of there already. Facebook is not.
In my mind, AOL should buy it. They're buying all these media companies. AOL, like the chat. Like I still use AOL chat, and people laugh at me. But there's a lot of people on it, and their video system is horrible, and you can't talk, but you can chat on it. And that's I don't know.
I don't think they have enough left right now.
No, they probably don't. I'm just saying in a general term of
what do you think the price would be? Does anybody have any insight on that?
It's not 1.7 billion. I can tell you. That right
not
now.
1. Not after anybody sees 5. If they see Skype 5, they're like, "I'll give you $20."
The value tanked to the floor.
Yeah. Speaking of AIM and AOL, I thought that was this week. Mike M.G. Sigler, writing it to TechCrunch, said we didn't get the memo. So when AOL sent this new chat client around to everybody who works at AOL and said, "Don't tell anybody," we didn't get the memo. So let's reveal all. God, I tell you, it must be.
Here's my question.
It's like WikiLeaks over there. They just let everything fly by accident.
Yeah.
So AOL has a VPN you have to get on to look at their to go to internal stuff, right? Like if I'm doing expenses, you have to go get on a private network essentially. Why would, just as out of curiosity, why would AOL give out a publicly accessible link to anybody?
Oh, that's interesting.
If they didn't want somebody to look at. Also, it's like this warning. This is has some warning, like this is for internal use, or this is, I don't know. It just seems like I'm not saying that TechCrunch had anything to do with that they were part of a PR thing, but I think that AOL was probably hoping, right? And actually, have you used it? I mean, it's actually kind of a cool, interesting idea. It's like chat roulette, but with less
penises,
nudity.
Oh, okay.
Less unwanted nudity.
Unlike this show.
Yeah, which has more than anybody wanted.
More than anybody ever wanted.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's a little.
I think they were hoping somebody
that's
like
interesting.
would come along and say,
Oh,
yeah.
that's interesting.
Because it's accessible. I mean, who puts something? You don't beta something unless you want people to see it
Let's
and make it
whitelist
accessible.
it to the world.
Wow, Joshua, you are good.
Or you could password protect it for employees. You could say only use this password, and then
or it'll only work on an AOL IP.
Yeah, that's
Simple.
one option. There are many ways you could have protected the site. Is all I'm saying. They didn't use any of them. So, have you used it?
No. Tell me about it. What is it? What is it?
It's so you basically it uses Flash to. Sorry, my earbuds are.
It's
falling
Flash
out.
based.
You
Yeah.
use Flash to create like a video chat, and then you get a little URL, and you can give that to people, and they can join into this like private video chat on its own private URL. Cool. You can I think you could have 4 people at a time. So it's actually kind of a cool tool. We were messing around with it, and it's not flawless right now. It's obvious, it's being beta tested still. So, it's not for public consumption, but it's got some interesting. It's an interesting idea. Design is nice. It works better than Skype 5. Let me put it that way.
Is this what do they call it? Is it?
It's AV. It's like AIM AV, I think. It's aim.com/AV. That's the other thing is it's not like you couldn't have just guessed this URL.
Right.
You might have accidentally typed aim.com/AV
and just gotten it. All right. Well, that's interesting. Google I/O is starting on Tuesday. We're going to bring you live coverage. Of course, Google streams the keynotes, but Gina Trapani and I will, who's a Google Android developer, and I will be there. I'm sure you will too, Loic. Your Android developers at Seismic.
We're going to be there as well. I'm going with Chris Ziegler, our mobile editor.
Ryan, you're going to be there, right?
I'll probably pop by, yeah.
Yeah. So
I think we're going to do some live blogging. We're going to attempt some live blogging using, I think we're going to use Scribble Live and see what that's like. Cool. We had an in-house solution at Engadget. So this will be our first time for us experimenting with a third party. Should be fun.
Now, last year, Google I/O announced, let's see, a whole bunch of stuff that never happened or was embarrassing. They said that they were going to do Google Music, never did it. They were going to do Google. Did they mention Google Me, their social initiative?
No, that was just a rumor.
That was just a rumor.
Google never said anything about that.
Okay, so we don't know anything about that. Let's see. Do you think they will do a Amazon-style cloud music service, perhaps?
They have to.
Oh, I know what the big announcement was last year. Google TV. Ooh.
I still use my Google TV, and it's sad that it's dead.
But if you think about it, like Android sucked for 2 years.
True.
Right, and it took a long time to take off, and now we're saying Honeycomb and Android tablets kind of suck. That's what you read it now and then, but
so you have a Zoom. Is that a Motorola Zoom?
I do.
I think the difference between Android and Google TV was that Android was getting support from the start. There was a lot of investment there. Google TV has really not been getting very much support from Google. And frankly, it relies so much on the content ecosystem that if the content ecosystem isn't supporting it either, then it's a very, very big challenge for them. And they have it. I mean, every content provider is, blocked it.
I thought it was a case maybe where Google thought that they could kind of strong arm these guys into playing along, and then these guys said no.
Even things like Hulu finally just got on PlayStation and Xbox. Like they finally got the deal done, and they've been working on that for an excessively long time, and I'm happy to have it there. But the deals will get done at some point. It's just if you're willing to bend over and give up what they want.
We have some Google developers in house who are going to Google I/O, and that we were all speculating. Last couple of years, Google has put an Android phone under the chair of the people at the keynote, and they seem to be of the opinion. I think they're probably right that this time it might be a Honeycomb tablet. I expect Google will be pushing Honeycomb. Do you think so, Loic?
Yeah, that's what we're betting as well.
Let's see this. You have on the Zoom.
Sure,
you have this is Seismic. I don't know how we're going to show people this. This is Seismic running on Honeycomb. First of all, is Honeycomb, Google said Honeycomb's not ready for prime time. Is this the build of Honeycomb that it came with, or are you using a special developer's build?
No. That's thank you.
Public. I was saying before when we were talking when we just brought this up. Public beta is their specialty, right? Google loves to there's no better way to figure out if your product is working or not than to have millions of people checking it out.
And that's poor Loic as a developer. You got to deal with that.
Yeah, the thing is, we would have loved actually to be ready when they announced it.
Right.
But they, they didn't give the SDK. So the life of a developer is not always easy because you get, you're focusing on something which is getting the Android smartphone really good. And then suddenly you're like, oh, there is a tablet. And can we have the SDK? Yeah, here it is. But you see what I mean? It's like, and now you have to stop what you're doing, basically, which is what we've been doing. So we're
How different is Seismic on Honeycomb than Seismic on Gingerbread? I mean, is it a big difference?
Well, you have a lot more space, pretty much like the iPhone and the iPad, of course.
So you using this? See, one way to go with as a developer on say an Android phone is just make it so that things stretch out if there's more room and they can occupy more space. I should show this. I should play this because I am actually a Seismic fan. I use it all the time.
But what's cool on the phone, on the smartphone as well. I don't know if you can show this, but this is you see all those shortcuts. So
the shortcuts are awesome. I don't have an Android.
Oh, you like it?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So here I can I get my replies straight from a shortcut. And that is something very cool, I think, from Android. So you'll see that. Otherwise, you have a lot of space, of course, on the tablet. I think it's really the year of tablets, and it's going to. I spend more and more time on the tablets, like everybody is, and we have to make it good. And even though the Honeycomb is not perfect at start, I think it's going to be huge. Oh wow!
You're using the space here.
Yeah, so
when
you
is
can switch.
Available?
Here you go. You can see the preview. If you click on a tweet that has a link in it,
it'll do a preview of it. Let's see if I can find one.
Just
Here's
get
one.
a link. Here you go.
So it opens this up.
Yeah.
And when can eager gadget and technology journalists get a copy of this to check out?
It's kind of what Leo has in his hand is a little broken. So see, if you tap here, you can switch account also on the top here.
Oh yeah.
So from Twitter to Facebook to Chair.
That's one of the reasons I use Seismic is because you do support LinkedIn, you support
and
Facebook
pages.
Ah, that's nice.
Yeah. So, but the Joshua and Ryan
and the previews supported as well. So here's your tweet about us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just more space. It's super fast, as you can see. It's really fast. It's amazing fast.
Really fast.
This is so needed for. I mean, the biggest problem with Honeycomb right now, and it's I think it's mostly due to what Loic is saying, is that when they announced this and when they released a product, the SDK had barely been in the hands of developers. I think that's the biggest issue is that there's just zero software selection for it, especially with something like a Twitter client where you would need, if somebody like me, like you just need to have a decent Twitter client on anything that you use. And this looks great.
Look at this. I love how you're using regions. So this opened, when I did this, it opened the preview, and then the page that's linked is beneath it. But this scrolls separately.
And you'll have the ability to open it full screen, but obviously it's just a beginning. We're cutting this as as we speak.
Is this going to have the shortcuts too?
Yeah, it will have shortcuts.
That's my favorite feature. Not that you should do it while you're driving, but if I had an Android phone, like you could just check your replies when you had a stoplight real quick.
Exactly.
Because I can't use my phone at all. I can't go into an application and look at anything. It takes too long. But if you just click a button and get right to where you want to get to.
You will have shortcuts too, and of course we will have. So this is a build that never, no one
does not exist.
It's just a screenshot that
does not exist.
But this is.
That's
and
awesome.
so I'll send you a build, Ryan and Joshua, of course, with pleasure, and Leo.
Thank you.
Well,
I promise
I would love to check it out. I'm not sure that I would really be able to write anything about it because I'm kind of biased here. I mean, I know you very well.
I was going to say I can't. I'm going to be very biased when I write about it.
You didn't get any wine or anything. I got wine.
All right.
The sooner you get it to me, the more biased I will be.
Let's see. Can I invest, Joshua, in your next?
Yeah, there it is.
And I'll invest in yours, and we'll take it all to the bank. We'll go straight to the bank.
My next investment.
Yeah, this is my next investment.
This is my next investment, Doug.
Yeah.
Well, there is a question I have for you, which is, of course, that Twitter seems to be shutting down the ecosystem for third-party Twitter clients. They obviously would very much prefer people use their clients because of things like the Dick Bar. Uber Media tried to buy TweetDeck. They offered a mere $20 million. Along comes Twitter and says, "Hey, we'll give you $40 to $50 million. We'll double that." And of course, you'd be crazy not to sell TweetDeck to Twitter. But I doubt Twitter will keep TweetDeck alive. It really was merely to take them out of play so that Uber Media couldn't have a dominant position, 20% of the Twitter clients. So doesn't that worry you, developing third-party clients for this ecosystem? A hostile ecosystem?
I'm not sure about the story because everybody thought it was done with Bill Gross, and it didn't
2
happen.
months ago, right?
I heard people telling me they heard it right from the company itself. Anyway, and so
I think, in fact, Bill Gross did say we have successfully acquired TweetDeck.
I
for
don't
Uber
know
Media.
that he said it officially, but he said it to a few people apparently.
Right.
Anyway, I think you have to be very careful when you code on any ecosystem. But clearly, Twitter has changed, a strategy, and now we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter.
That's why you do all those other things.
Exactly, and we're more and more a business app. We're coding, for Salesforce, for Chatter, very internal.
That's right. You support Salesforce now.
Exactly. We have now Salesforce Chatter in all our apps, and honestly, I moved. Yeah, and the plugin. We have 80 plugins. Thank you. Owen is doing my pitch.
Payment for the wine. Yes. Payment for the wine.
But we have 80 plugins. But basically, we're moving from. We are focusing more now on the business side of it, and I have to say that working with businesses that are ready to pay for some of the things we do is a delight.
But that's one thing that Twitter's always said is if you add value, if you are over and above what a standard Twitter client or our Twitter clients do, we're okay with that.
Yeah, exactly.
I think what Loic is doing is actually the smartest way to do it, though. And that is, don't count on any single platform. Don't count on any single, mechanism. You have to kind of disintermediate all of that stuff in order to have a robust product. I mean, if you're just a third-party Facebook client, you're dead as soon as Facebook shuts you down or decides they don't want you to exist anymore. Right. And if you're only on iOS, then you're dead as soon as Apple decides that they don't like what you're doing for whatever arbitrary reason. So, being in as many places as possible, supporting as much as possible, it's difficult, and not very many people can do that effectively. But I mean, that's why Seismic is really awesome and interesting. Because they're not going to see themselves disintermediated by any single company.
What else will we see at Google I/O? We'll see tablets. We'll see maybe a final version of Honeycomb. Will they open source Honeycomb? What else do we expect? Ryan, what do you think?
I think open sourcing Honeycomb is possible. I mean, they've been very cagey there. I don't know. I don't know if they think that this is like the way to start their transition away from open sourcing Android.
Boy, I hope not.
They've certainly implied very strongly that they are not as fond of open sourcing Android as they once were.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't really know how many people going to I/O are really going because they think that's going to give them the first peek at open source Honeycomb. But yeah, I think that we'll probably see a little bit more about the next version of Android, which I guess is Ice Cream. And
ice cream sandwich.
Ice cream sandwich.
Yeah, apparently that's a distinction that's being made. Okay. Is that it's not ice cream, it's ice cream sandwich.
Yeah, sandwich.
They're going to talk a lot about Honeycomb though at I/O. I mean, they need to get this in front of people. They need to get it in front of developers. They need to extol the benefits of Honeycomb. I think they must have to talk. They're going to have to talk about Honeycomb on handsets because they said at some point they're going to unify this. Honeycomb is going to be across handsets and tablets. So I think at some point they're going to have to unify it and talk about that. I'm hoping we get to see a little peek. Well, that's going to look like.
That's not really going to be Honeycomb, right? That would be potentially ice cream sandwich or whatever.
I mean, I guess have they defined that yet? I know the next version is ice cream sandwich.
But I think that they know as well as anyone that they can't keep fragmenting the platform. That they need to be unifying.
Yeah, and if you think about again, as a developer, we've built this Honeycomb tablet. It doesn't run on the phones, and which is exactly it's a huge issue. That means we have to keep two code branches, two builds out until
and don't build anything for Tegra because then you'll need to do three.
Is Tegra really that different because you have to?
Yeah, I mean you can't. Tegra stuff is you can't run on non-Tegra phones. Some of it there's versions of it, but
really
it's actually really crazy. The fragmentation is getting so just weird and particular that now you've got you've got CPU fragmentation where you literally are like. Good. You don't have this kind of CPU. You've got a really powerful 1 gigahertz phone. You've got a Snapdragon. It could easily run that stuff, or it could run something close to it. But the software is just written for Tegra, so you're kind of out in the cold. You're not going to be able to run that stuff. And so,
is there any credibility to the thought that Apple, that we saw this rumor? I just find this hard to believe. Might be moving to ARM processors for its not just iOS, but for its desktop or at least laptop.
I really don't see that happening.
That seems crazy.
I don't think that would happen either.
That's crazy.
I mean, it could happen at some point in the future. I think it would be years before we got to that point. I mean, they've really just kind of established themselves in the PC market in a fairly dominant position. And a big part of that push was assuring switchers, assuring, Windows using end users, not corporate buyers, but regular people, that they can run Windows and run their Windows apps when they come over to the Mac platform. And you lose all that when you go to ARM.
I agree.
But it would be really cool if you
sense.
could code an app for the iPhone and the iPad also runs on the Mac, because today it's a total nightmare for developers too. You need a Mac version, and you need.
But you use Silverlight on the desktops, right?
I mean, that can be handled strictly by the compiler. There's just so many differences in the UI
There's a reason they don't
stack.
make G5 processor their own processor anymore. There's a lot of reasons.
I mean, is the idea here that at some point does this rumor come out of the idea that at some point in the near future that there will be a merging of
iOS everywhere
and OS 10, and it'll just become iOS in one way or another, and then it's time to unify the types of chips you're using along with that. I mean, that is years and years away if it's going to happen.
Right.
So, and when it does, it's going to look like something completely different than what we see now. So, I mean, I think maybe I'm sure Apple is every day looking at what other people are doing and saying, is there a piece of technology here? I mean, I know this. They're looking to say, is there a piece of technology here that we can buy or use that's going to make our products better?
Well,
because they're quite obviously on the cutting edge.
And Intel's trying to move into ARM's territory. We'll talk about the Tri-Gate 3D transistor in just a moment. It's such good marketing to call anything 3D these days.
This is like HD was a little while ago.
Yeah.
Everything was HD.
It's 3D.
HD cookies. Now it's 3D cookies.
Before we do that,
HD Makeup.
HD Makeup?
Yeah, that existed. I think we covered it on Engadget, actually.
Oh, yeah, I've used HD Makeup. They apply it with an airbrush.
No, this was just a brand of makeup that was selling it as like HD, like it's going to make you look high.
You'll be high
resolution.
def.
Yeah, exactly.
I want 3D makeup. Makes your nose actually look bigger.
I don't want that makeup.
Oh,
I
it's
want
good.
The opposite.
That's the good stuff.
They have 2D makeup. That's what
was it ThinkGeek was selling 2D glasses that take any 3D image and make them 2D. That's what I want. Hey, before we go any further, I would like a little bit to talk about our friends at Audible. Audible.com. It's a great bookstore of audio books. It is fantastic. And if you haven't checked out Audible.com, I want you to go there right now. I tell you, before I buy a book these days, I on the Kindle or at Amazon or at a bookstore. I don't think I've been in a bookstore in a while. I will always go to audible.com first and see if the audio version is available, partly because it's much easier for me to get reading done when I'm in my car, when I'm at the gym, when I'm doing the dishes, times when you couldn't really hold a book. But those are times that are dead times. You can't do anything else. And Audible is just great. It just fills my life with interesting stuff. You could try it right now. Get 2 books free. You'll go to audible.com/twit2 and sign up for the Platinum account. That's 2 books a month. First month's free. First 2 books are free. And they're yours to keep forever. So if you decide to cancel, and you can do that at any time, you still get to keep those books. I'm just looking what's on the front page. I guess because of the Osama bin Laden SEALs. There's a great book now about the U.S. Navy SEALs. It's on the front page. SEAL Team 6, Memoirs of an Elite Navy SEAL Sniper. I'm sure that's going to be very popular.
I can't wait for the new Call of Duty.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty.
Let's get Obama.
That's right.
Osama. Well, it depends what happens.
Obama.
Depends what happens in the election.
Well, Fox News did that live.
Yeah, but I think that a lot of people did that. That was an easy typo.
Yeah.
I'm not going to blame them. Does the
You're right.
noise in my head bother you? A rock and roll memoir by Steven Tyler. Okay. You don't have to. No, you don't have to listen to that. I'm just saying. It's there if you want it. Any of you listen to audiobooks?
I actually just got Rework, Jason Fried from.
Oh, that's a great book.
I got that as not free, but I subscribed a long time ago.
Yeah.
I took Coupon.
Yeah, they were offering it for free for a while. Jason Fried of 37 Signals, David Hannemeyer Hansen, also 37 Signals, and the creator of Ruby on Rails. They've written a couple of really good books. This is their newest, Rework. It's a new way to look at work.
You're an entrepreneur and you don't have any money.
It's a must read.
It's a great read. Yeah, or a great listen.
What about Tony Hsieh of Zappos? His newest, the one that came out, Delivering Happiness.
That's great. Have you read it, Leo?
No, I've got it. Tony gave me a copy of it. I got to listen.
It's really good. It changes the way you want to. For example, he explains how if you call them, they advertise competition.
Right.
They don't advertise.
It's like Miracle on 34th Street. Santa Claus said, go to Bloomingdale's.
Yeah, if you try to buy something they don't have, they send you.
Yeah.
Talking about being objective, and it's just it always comes back.
Right.
Because when I call somewhere and people just say, "Oh, we don't do that," and they get you off the phone,
Just be a
you
good
have a bad
person.
taste in your mouth. When
Yep.
someone says, "Hey, you might want to check this out," hey, thanks for the suggestion. You want to go back. To
I know
places
you've
like that.
read this. Any entrepreneur has read this. Jim Collins' Good to Great, a classic,
Yeah.
a must read. Have you read that, Loic? No, you got to
I
read it.
haven't.
Get it
This
on
is
Audible.
how
Listen to
good companies become great companies, and why some companies can't do it. It's just, it is perhaps the, I so many people I know have read this and have said, this is the book. You got to read this one. So right there, we just showed you, my friends at home, how to make millions of dollars with your new startup.
There you go.
Just a couple of books that you should read.
There's another one, is Blink, if you allow me.
Love
Do you know
that.
Blink? Blink. Thank you.
Malcolm Gladwell. Thank you.
That changed the way I see things in my life.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about trusting your first 30 seconds, feelings with someone, and especially if they have hair like Joshua. Then
I now make all my I'm making a snap decision.
Blink.
Shirt back up.
He didn't blink.
I've just gut check on that one. Go with it. I make all decisions now based on my gut, no matter what it is, no matter how bad it is.
Yeah, my gut says
When your chest hair stands up, you know it's a good call.
take off the shirt. Yeah.
Let it all out.
Let it all hang out.
It actually is
Audible.com.
quite warm. I'm on my third floor right now. It's
Yeah. That's always the excuse.
Bizarrely warm day.
It's getting awfully hot in here. I think maybe I should remove some.
I think that's a different book.
I have no pants on.
I think
Also,
that's a different book.
That's
Uncle Leo.
they have that kind of book too.
I'm sure they do.
I don't want to say anything, but if you go to the romance section,
Oh, there we go.
you can find some
It was a hot day in the TWiT cottage.
bodice rippers.
Leo had just got done doing This Week in Tech.
When you want your hands free, for whatever reason, you've got to check it out. Audible.com/twit2. Your first two books are free. All you have to do is go there and sign up for the Platinum account. Audible.com/ this is one for you, I think there, Doctor, the Dominatrix.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about.
Uncle Leo.
this is your personal,
I need
wish list, right,
$16.95,
Leo?
Uncle Leo.
Have you read this one, Leo?
No, I haven't.
I gotta admit that looks
I
pretty
am
good.
not
I'm
gonna-
If you give me $16.95, Uncle Leo,
You don't need $16.95. Audible.com/twit2.
I've already got my free, but I'm paying for it. I got 2 free months. Never mind. I'm
Do you
good.
get a sample in audio on?
Yeah, you wanna hear it?
Yeah, about
Get a
the
sample,
Dominatrix.
read it out loud.
Especially
Leo. Could you do
like a
that?
sample of
The
this one.
Frenchman wants to hear. All right. I can
By the
play
way,
a
I
little
felt
bit.
left out. I got some wine delivered.
Good.
Here.
That's
A little
good.
white.
Joshua.
Talking about wine, my
That's good.
glasses.
was crawling on all fours. He moved towards his wife.
Oh my God.
"You know what to do," she said in an imperious tone. Apparently, Dan knew exactly what to do.
Okay, we're going to stop right there.
He knew exactly what to do, Uncle Leo. That's what I'm talking about. I'm
have
getting
to
that
say-
book. I'll report on its
Is there some
quality.
wine left, Leo? I need some wine.
Oh no, that's the last thing you need.
Aud-
Thank you.
Audible.com. Here, just keep the bottle. Audible.com/twit2. We
We'll
love
give some
Audible,
to Leo.
and they're just fantastic. And by the way, you can follow them on Twitter as well. Audible_com.
That's fine.
Audible, the greatest audiobooks. By the way, when you do sign up, you will also get a free subscription to the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times daily audio programs, and you can listen to them right there on your Audible device. So, 3D transistors. Not quite as exciting as the Dominatrix. But Intel says it's going to give us another 2 years for the Moore's Law. I didn't realize it was so close to the end for Moore's Law.
I don't know. They come out so fast. I think I'm just going to wait till the 4D transistors.
I wouldn't do that. I mean,
Every time I
5D is
invest in it,
obviously-
it's just like, there's a new processor update. I mean, come on.
Well,
I
this
think
is
5D is clearly the future, Ryan. So you're making a big
It's
mistake.
true. I do need a 5th D.
if you're going to just accept 4D. I mean,
so. All right. So this is why they say it's a 3D transistor. This tri-gate, instead of being laid out flat, because the process they use, basically it's a silk screen, and they dope the silicon with conductive materials in a flat draw. It's basically a drawing on the silicon. This
they read the Dominatrix.
Apparently, they read the Dominatrix and it goes straight up. There's another above 3D layer which gives you more density, but it has two things they say are very important. One is when it's in idle state, as close to zero power as you can get. This is not true of our current processors, which means much lower power, and they also are faster because the density, I guess, means it's possible. The same amount of space can hold twice as many transistors. It's a 22 nanometer process.
That should be awesome for laptops. I mean,
laptops and this is what's interesting. Intel currently does not make a chip that is used in any mobile device. It's all ARM based. And I know this drives them crazy. They would love to get into that ARM marketplace. They hate to see any chip company do better than they do. Is it, Ryan Block, conceivable that ARM could be replaced in any device by a future Intel processor?
I think it's unlikely. The thing that a lot of people don't remember is that Intel actually used to be in the mobile chip business.
The Scale.
Yes, they got rid of it. They got rid of their X Scale business a while ago. Or was it? It wasn't X Scale. Scale X? Whatever it was. They had basically.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I think it was X Scale.
We should know. Why don't we know?
They had a mobile RISC processor unit that was very similar to ARM, except they obviously fabbed their own chips, and they got rid of it right before the industry got really big in mobile. And it might have been actually the right decision for them because they weren't really doing so well there, but they've never been able to kind of make up for that fact. I mean,
just a quick note, reading Wikipedia, it's Intel and Marvell's implementation of ARM v5 architecture. So something to think about.
I think we're at ARM v8 or 9 now in most of the processors of the market. So I mean, it was a while ago.
Yeah.
But look, x86 based chips, they're not directly equivalent.
They don't.
I mean, there are a lot of different. Even if you can make them faster and use less power, there are still a lot of reasons why ARM isn't going anywhere.
Okay, enough said.
Microsoft doesn't think it's going anywhere.
Microsoft says they're porting. Microsoft says, so I'd like some more wine, please. Microsoft says they're porting Windows 8 to ARM.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the big deal. That was their big announcement.
Great idea.
So when do you get a Microsoft tablet?
No, I'm being totally sarcastic. Right? That is the dumbest idea of all.
Somebody called me on the radio show, said, hey, I really like this new Acer tablet that's going to come out soon. I went over and looked at it. It's a Windows 7 tablet. Should anybody under any circumstances buy a tablet running any version of Windows?
Yeah, they were like, in lieu of a tablet strategy, we are thinking about mobile.
What are Microsoft's chief problems these days? One, they have Windows running on devices that are way too low power and crappy to properly run Windows.
Netbooks.
And two, they don't have a proper mobile OS. It's like they're actually going in favor of both of those completely wrong-headed strategies.
Hey, but don't you like Windows Phone? Don't you like Windows Phone 7?
Cool.
Windows Phone 7 is nice. It's really nice. The thing that cracks me up about something like that is everyone here can agree that that's just a stupid strategy. How do people sit in an office and make the money they make and still say, let's just do this?
Why doesn't somebody just laugh?
I think the issue at Microsoft is there's so many people that they can't tell when they're making. It's like the kin.
It's got to come from somewhere.
It's like there's so many people there making these little decisions. They can't tell when the end result is going to be something that's just absolutely
Your tablet strategy is not a little decision.
I know, but
everyone
and their
mom has got a tablet.
Remember, Microsoft doesn't make their money from things like mobile. I mean, they don't really, in a way.
I'm excited about the Veer. This looks just like
what is that?
A Palm Pre.
That's the Windows Phone 7?
And mobile is
this running Windows Phone 7 or is this Android?
Like a kid, though. I mean, it
does look like a kid.
If they would attack the mobile market the way they went after PlayStation with the Xbox, maybe they'd have something. I mean, the Xbox when it first came out, people were like, oh, what's Microsoft's going to do? They went out, they got great titles, and they made a great machine, and they made it for adults. They made the right handset, and boom, Xbox is Xbox.
Xbox is such a weird fluke. It's like not a Windows product. I mean, it is in a way, but
it is
not a Windows product, and it's so good, and they've executed on so many parts of it that are so great. And then you've got, I mean, you look at their mobile strategy. It's like Windows Phone 7 is great, but I mean, in terms of competitiveness, it's still behind Android. It's behind iOS.
It came out last. Of course, it's going to be behind.
In some ways, it's behind. It's almost behind BlackBerry OS, but not really. And the thing is, how can you not, if you're Microsoft, how can you not be trying to? I mean, they're still trying to put Windows 7 in tablets, like what Ryan said. It's so ridiculous that, I mean, have you ever used Windows 7 with a mouse? It's even tough with a mouse. Why would you want to use your fingers to control it? With a keyboard and a mouse, it's a pain in the ass.
All right. To the point, though, their phone is nice, and they're bringing in gaming applications from the Xbox, like the
That's
flow
a cool
of it.
thing.
The way the Xbox flows is kind of the way the iPhone's phone works. And I mean, if they just iterated on that, to a tablet, I'd use that.
But they're
One
so
of
far
the news
behind.
was that their market share is declining less on the phone since they launched Windows Phone 7. And honestly, if you look at all the platforms available, I think they're going to be the first.
That's good news for Microsoft. Declining less.
We're on the phone.
Hey, good news, shareholders. We're declining less.
Well, I mean, of course, you're going to decline less when you actually put a product in market that is even remotely
functional,
competitive. Like if it's like we're not competing at all, and then suddenly you start competing a little bit, you're bound to see some result from that because that's what they did. They went from being absolutely behind the times in every way, not competing, to competing a little bit, which they're doing now. But we still haven't seen sales numbers, so we have no idea how much they're competing.
And they weren't
Loic,
talking.
Maybe you've got some insight. You're a developer. Can you tell? Do you know any? Have you heard any sales numbers?
You have Seismic on Windows, right?
Yeah,
Do you know how many?
We have our own app, and frankly, it's growing nicely. And the developers really like the way you code for Windows Phone 7, and we have a great asset for the tablet when they do one.
But what's the deal?
Which is the desktop.
When I tested your app when I was reviewing Windows Phone 7, I thought the scrolling was weird and janky on it for some reason. Has that problem been corrected? Is that a problem that's intrinsic in the OS, or was
you
it
said
just
the
like
scrolling?
Yeah.
Yes,
the scrolling, like when you did scroll this, it would like weirdly jump and get stuttery. Has that been corrected?
It's a scrolling issue from the OS. We tried everything we could to.
It is the OS though.
Yeah, because even if you look at the own marketplace, you'll see the scrolling, and they've acknowledged that, and it's gonna.
Does that alarm you at all that they couldn't get scrolling right on it? It is a serious question. Like they actually have done a lot of. They've done a lot of amazing things with that OS, but there are little things. I remember reviewing it thinking, like, why?
Yeah.
This just feels completely not right.
Well, Joshua, I think you have to think as of if it was the beginning of Android, right? It wasn't good either.
Well, the G1 was terrible.
And they're picking up. The G1 was awful, and they're picking up pretty fast. The developers like it, and but I agree with you.
Will Nokia be?
I don't know. I see a lot of G1s out there. It wasn't awful. I mean, but it was awful. Windows Phone 7 was better than Android 1.0.
But don't discount Nokia. Leo just said it. It's huge. Here we don't, think about
Nokia
much,
running Windows Phone 7 could be a powerhouse.
It's huge.
Their hardware is beautiful. I mean, seriously, some of that Nokia hardware.
I have the N8, whatever, the N8.
And what is it? Gartner said it would be one of the top 3 OS. I don't know if that's going to be true, but I wouldn't discount. I really wouldn't discount Nokia at all. I think it's
it's the battle for third place now, right? It's the heavy hitters. We got HP.
But now I agree with you, Joshia. The scrolling needs work.
It's something wrong with it. Okay, good. I'm glad I'm not crazy.
This is the one you want.
We have Microsoft. We have HP and RIM battling for third place, right?
RIM.
I guess Microsoft, Nokia.
BlackBerry World was this week. BlackBerry RIM announced the BlackBerry 9900 touchscreen and keyboard, the best keyboard. Many analysts said that the BlackBerry has ever done. The touchscreen OS, they're calling it BlackBerry OS 7.
You can tell, by the way, keyboards really matter these days. If you have a really great hardware keyboard, that's guaranteed to sell a phone.
No, it is.
People talking about how great your keyboard is. You are going to.
No, and it's great. We've coded an app for a year and a half on BlackBerry, and it doesn't work on the tablet. Fantastic,
The tablet's completely different OS.
I wrote an editorial about this. Talking about fragmentation. You've got Android fragmentation. RIM now has OS 5, OS 6. Playbook OS and OS 7, and none of them really work with each other. I mean, and they're all going to be in market come summer.
All right,
it doesn't make
a
any
year
sense
from now, I'll give it for all of you guys. You could tell me what you think. A year from now, Apple's still on top, Android, Windows Phone 7, and BlackBerry. What is the ranking, Joshua?
The ranking is that Google Google has grown leaps and bounds. I think they're at 35% or something in the U.S. I'm speaking U.S. only. They're on top. Then RIM. Then Apple. RIM is slipping. They keep slipping about 4% each.
So this is today.
Year over year, there's
next year. A year from today. What do we think?
Oh, a year from today, Android is number 1 because they have absolutely saturated the market with devices. Apple and RIM will probably still be battling out for. I think
RIM will still be around in a year.
Apple will move to number 2. RIM will move to number 3 probably.
Windows Phone 7 with Nokia not number 2 in a year.
Everybody. Well, I can't speak for worldwide because I haven't seen those numbers, but I haven't seen them recently. But I will say that at least in the U.S., Microsoft, HP, and everybody else who's in 4th right now are playing for 3rd. They're not even close to RIM. So once RIM slips to 3rd, it's going to be pretty tough to get them out of the picture, at least for a couple of years.
You agree, Ryan?
I think that putting in these terms is actually a little, I don't know. It doesn't sound quite right to me because number one, number two, it doesn't really matter. I think there's two things that matter: who's making money and who's worried. In a year,
Apple's
Google making a little money, not worried at all. Apple making money hand over fist,
Ton of money.
Yeah.
absolutely not worried.
Right.
Apple doesn't need to be number one. I agree with
HP,
Brian.
Those guys not making a ton of money, maybe a little here and there, all very worried. If you're RIM, you're probably still making actually a pretty good amount of money, but you are potentially the most scared out there. I mean, those guys are just, they are freaked out right now.
You know, Ryan is
be.
right. I had a chat with some of our editors just like a couple of days ago, and Apple doesn't need to be number one. And in fact, I don't even know if they want to be number one. I think that there's something, you know, they like to have a boutique brand.
Yeah, I don't look. Who cares? Who cares? Number one, who cares? They are making
most
more
profitable
money than pretty much every other mobile company out there right now.
They're making more money than Microsoft.
And their brand equity, their mind share is ridiculous. Like, you know, Apple is seen as the absolute leader. They're seen, I mean, in terms of mind share, they're seen as the leader. They're seen as the people who always push technology forward. They're seen as the most desirable products. And so you've got, like, if you're making money, I mean, seriously, it doesn't matter if Google saturates the market with free Android phones. That's what RIM did a few years ago. They saturated the market with free curves. And now here's what's going on. I'm not saying this is going to happen to Google because it's a very different company. But what happened is you saturate with free phones. You go for the low end. You lose your brand equity. You lose your shine. And people start looking for something like an iPhone. They want the high end. They want the boutique brand. So I think that, you know, not everybody, but a lot of people, and that's where there's a lot of money to be made. I think that you see the same thing happening for laptops with Apple. You know, people are looking for the high end of laptops. They're selling more high end laptops than anybody.
Apple's going to be in the driver's
You know what's
seat.
interesting? I see 3 MacBook Airs in this room.
Right. So
Apple's
Apple's going to be in the driver's seat just because they opened up to Verizon. And then once they open up to Verizon and AT&T's talking about buying T-Mobile, if that happens, then more iPhones on T-Mobile. And then if Apple ever got scared, they just say, hey, Sprint, let me throw some iPhones on you guys. And I mean, the thing, at the end of the day, they're making more money than anybody else. And when we talk about the tablets, everybody else has got all this stuff they got to worry about a tablet. They don't have to worry about anything. They've got their infrastructure, they've got their system, and they're getting money. I spend $10 a week on apps for my kid. She sits there every week and she says, Dad, can we get a new book? Can we get a new game? And after she wears one out, I've got to buy another one. I got a $10, $20 limit a week that I know I'm going to spend on apps for her. Not even for myself, just for her. And that's what they're playing.
You ought to see my Mojo bills.
They're killing it.
The Mojo bills through the roof.
Yeah. So if Apple ever had to worry about it, they're like, hey, Sprint, you want an iPhone too? But everybody else has one.
And then the real question underlying is, Leo, you were saying there are 3 MacBook Airs here, but like, will we all completely switch to tablets? I think is the real question.
Will we?
You know, more and more. I don't know. I find myself using my iPad more and more, and needing a keyboard less and less. As
that's interesting.
I think Joshua said, who needs a keyboard, right?
Right.
And it's great. For example, if you speak another language, you can switch your keyboard to from French to English with just a touch of a button, which you can't on this device. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I
If Apple had technology like Android has for voice to text, I wouldn't care about a keyboard. I'd throw my MacBook Air out the window. Like,
really,
that
you
would
want to be
happen
talking? You want to be talking to your phone all the time? I mean, that to me seems like the worst.
I do it a lot.
I do it a lot. I've done it with my friend's phone.
Yeah.
People do it. Yes, especially
putting a
texting.
phone to your mouth and talking into it. No,
Really?
no,
I know
no,
that
no.
sounds so insane.
How dare you?
It's a
I like the
foreign
sound of that.
concept.
Send text
Foreign
to
concept.
Owen, JJ Stone.
And you don't talk to your phone because it's called
Message.
speakerphone, and your phone can hear you from 2 feet away. And if my tablet did that, I could just sit on a table and say, email Loic, and then it just asks me what I want to say.
Maybe
translate to French or whatever.
Maybe I'm just so into the idea of writing and typing on a keyboard. I mean, I was a big Trio fan, so you kind of have to give me a little.
Well.
Give me a little wiggle room here. I like a keyboard, but
it's the Steve Jobs thing. PCs are trucks.
But when you need to say a
except
private message to someone, like when you need to say, hey, get the audible of Dominatrix for later on so we can listen to it together, and you don't want everybody to hear you say that.
Why not?
You're
I
not
can't
gonna be
wait to
saying it
listen
out loud
together
to your
with a dominatrix with you, Joshua. This is such a great fun.
I'm a grown man, and I'm confident in my sexuality. I will say it on a bus. I will say it in a car.
In fact,
I will say it near a car.
Hey, baby, get Dominatrix for us later on.
I'd be proud to say it. Yeah. Note to self.
I'd like to your wife.
Get a hot, sexy book from audible.com/twit2.
Hey, Leo, you know what to do. And he knew what to do when he did it how he did it.
So biased about
Hey, you know
Audible.
who you don't want to be today is T-Mobile, which lost 471,000 customers last quarter.
That's like getting punched in the face.
400.
Cute spokesperson. So
Do you know
my
their commercials are made with that girl that's like digital?
She looks like Catherine Zeta-Jones,
but she's not real. She's digital.
Yeah.
That's weird.
what? Wait, what?
Yeah.
That chick's digital. She's
I
not a
thought
real
she
person.
was. Is she
She's
really?
not a real person.
It's like there's a person cast screen in it or whatever, but that's like a digital image, LCD, whatever.
If I was Google, I would try to.
I don't know about that.
become an operator.
I'm confused about this.
No.
Are you saying
Somebody
this
look
was
that
a
up. Somebody
hologram
look
of
that
some
up. That
sort,
chick
or-
is,
All right. I need a link to the new T-Mobile girl.
yeah, find out about her.
I
don't
think she's a real person.
All right. I don't
You think she's a real person?
She's too nice to
I mean,
be real.
the fact that
I don't know that many
you're
nice
asking
girls.
me if I think she's a real person is upsetting to me.
She might be
She's a
real
person.
somewhere.
She's
I
obviously
mean,
there's a human being.
I
Are
don't
you
think. I'll
sure?
tell you why I kind of agree with you, because she looks almost like Catherine Zeta-Jones, their former spokesperson, but not quite. She looks too much like her not to be fake.
No,
Really,
no,
Leo,
she's,
you
she's
are
real. I
going
just
along with
Googled
the
it.
theory
There's,
she's
there's
a
all kinds of photos of her
computer-generated
online. She's really
individual.
And-
Chat room. Is it Simone?
It's
You know,
chat roulette.
actually, who I think is interesting though in terms of the mascot. So the Verizon guy, the "Can you hear me now" guy,
Yeah,
is
he's
he
retired.
got canceled basically,
Yeah.
and they the Atlantic did like a little profile on him.
It's a great article.
about him and his life. Yeah, really, really good article. You should totally look
in
at
which
it.
he
It's,
in which he admitted
I have
that
not read this.
for the years that he was the guy. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? No, that she's real.
Yo, I know.
You made that
joking.
up.
Yeah. I was.
Wait a second. Wait. So she is real.
Yeah.
Well, Leo, forget about whether he made it up or not. You were like, yeah, I believe
I
that.
thought she was digital.
You were like, it's more likely that she's some
She's-
sort of computer-generated
she's
hologram
enhanced.
than
Well, let's put
actually
it this way: they should computer generate their people, because remember, dude, you're getting Adele, and they got upset because they found out he was a stoner, and I'm like, he was playing a stoner for 8 years for your brand,
And you
you're
didn't
upset
know?
because he's a stoner. I mean, the Verizon guy, they're lucky he wasn't like a
You know who-
closet
you know
freak
who I
reading
don't think is-
dominatrix on
They
Audible
should-
or something.
They should have computer-generated people because they're cheaper than.
Here's who I don't think is real. Have you been on Delta?
Now, she's real. The Delta girl's real. She's very real.
This is not.
Whoa! I used to date the Delta
truth
girl.
comes
She's my
out.
sister's mother's uncle,
She's very-
and I know she's real.
very
Delta
real.
girl seems too
Wow.
good to be
Button your
true.
shirt up. You're too
That is
manly
not
right now.
a real woman.
Button your shirt
That
up.
is not a real woman. Look at her.
One
Look at her.
button, another button now the Delta girl is on.
She looks
Look.
freaky.
I never saw.
She is scary. She's not
Have
real.
you ever been to LA, man?
I've
been
fly-
to LA. I'm going to LA
Person
next
looks
week.
I
in
fly
LA.
Delta just to watch that flight safety video. I confess it.
Delta's actually my airline of choice because I've got a lot of points.
Well, but hostesses flight attendants don't look like that.
They all look like that. They all are.
She actually
beautiful.
is a real flight attendant.
Perfectly
she does in fact
symmetrical
look
in
like
every
that.
way.
I know because I checked.
you know who she reminds me of is Jocelyn Wildenstein, the Catwoman.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That
totally.
really, really famous woman who just had a ridiculous amount
Oh
of
yeah,
surgery.
had too much work. Yeah.
But she's slightly
Yes.
less scary than the Catwoman.
She's not that bad.
But just like a couple of percentage points off.
Like
she's
2%
really,
less scary
really
than the
approaching an approximation.
People are going to be really upset when they find out Leo's not real. They're going to just be.
I don't know.
totally
It's
heartbroken.
a
common
hologram.
knowledge.
It's computer generated. I believe that.
It's common knowledge.
That you're not.
Oh no, but it's we believe in analog. I'm a clone.
Yeah.
That's why he can podcast for like 22 hours.
Yeah,
a
there's
day.
three of me. There's plenty.
Bring
of
in the
Are
third Leo.
nonstop.
We
Man,
need a
there's no
recharge.
life.
Should we say anything about the Sony nightmare?
It's
or is
horrible,
it,
dude.
is
I've
it
been
done?
waiting to play Portal, and I can't.
You can't play
on-
co-op mode.
No, I can't play Portal with somebody over the internet. It's killing me inside. It's killing me.
I don't know. I kind of like it. A little peace and quiet finally.
I can't play.
You can have peace and
PSN
quiet. You
is-
just don't
is
go
good.
online.
I have to say I was wrong. Last week I thought that you couldn't activate a game at all. You can still play your games. You just can't play like
Yeah,
co-op
you
mode.
I can't play Call of Duty. That's why I bought an Xbox, because I couldn't play
Wait a
Call
minute, you
of
bought
Duty.
an Xbox because of the
Wow.
PlayStation problem?
I need to shoot people.
Wait a second.
And if I
You
can't shoot
actually
people
like
in
PlayStation-
co-op, I had to
Dude,
get
you're
Xbox.
actually PlayStation Network is down, and I need to play multiplayer, so I'm buying an Xbox.
Yeah,
Microsoft needs to hire you to do an ad right now.
but and the worst part was too. I've told people for years. I'm like, why don't you buy an Xbox? I'm like, I have to pay for online. I have to pay for charger packs for the controllers. I shelled out all this money for this Xbox, and you know what? After 2 weeks, I'm not looking at my PlayStation anymore. So PlayStation, you need to get your stuff together.
Too late.
'cause
They've lost you.
They have lost me. because I already shelled all this money. I got to play Xbox release a year to get my money's worth.
When they're back, are you
personally
going
been a
to
huge
go back
PlayStation 3 fan, and I'm waiting for Veronica to bust open the door and come in and strangle me.
She works for Sony.
Yeah, well, she has a show on PlayStation 3. And
what happens to her
really
show?
good show? And they do have some good games. I've just always been like more partial to the Xbox, but I have to say, I feel like this could have happened to anybody. I don't feel like this is something
they were running.
to Sony.
They were running an unpatched instance of Apache with no firewall.
And then I get the email. Your
information
might be
make these stupid mistakes all the time. You think all Microsoft servers
Danger?
are absolute?
Remember Microsoft and Danger?
One at a time. Say again, Ryan.
Sorry,
I was saying, this kind of stuff. They're very big companies with huge infrastructures that handle dozens, if not hundreds of millions of customers. There's going to be holes. There are always going to be holes. I mean, it's really, if there's a will, there's a way. And if you think Microsoft's systems are completely rock solid secure, I mean, yeah, I'm sure they're a little bit better now that they kind of.
Well, they ain't running Apache. I'm probably.
But I mean, that's. I'm not saying it's like forgivable.
That's the thing. It's not forgivable because right now we're talking about Sony and not anybody else. And
but everybody.
But it's not like Sony is really happy about that.
Microsoft had that huge issue with the Danger stuff, and they lost all that data. And,
that's right. But they got it back.
I mean, this stuff happens. This, on the other hand, though, that was just kind of like they screwed up. It was like, human error. We lost some stuff. We broke something. A hard drive failed. But this is like we, created a system where you could put your credit card information and your personal information into it.
And we didn't protect it.
Whoops-a-daisy. We didn't make it as secure as we could have. I mean, this really hurts their brand.
I closed my credit card and got a new card.
Howard Stringer, well, you didn't need to do that, but Howard Stringer sent an email out saying, I know this has been a frustrating time for all of you. Let me assure you the resources of this company have been focused on investigating the entire nature and impact of the cyber attack we've all experienced and on fixing it. They did. It's interesting. They have taken out a $1 million identity theft insurance policy for every user.
But I don't need to close my credit card. Somebody worried about it.
From Debix.
They went to Howard Stringer's sofa.
Was anyone actually?
There was $1 million there. They were like, we could use this.
They never said that anybody got credit card numbers. There was never any evidence that anybody got credit card numbers. But they said, well, just to be safe, they will be okay. Now here's the thing. Okay, Owen, J.J. Stone, you are our guinea pig.
Yes.
They will be offering you, Owen J.J. Stone, a welcome back package that will, once they get it back running, we don't know when that's going to be. This will include, Owen J.J. Stone, among other benefits, 1 entire month of free PlayStation Plus membership for all PSN customers, plus an extension of subscriptions for PlayStation Plus and Music Unlimited customers to make up for whatever time you might have lost.
That's not really a big deal. I don't play for PlayStation to get online anyway, so.
Would you accept our offer?
I would accept the offer. I'd go play Portal because I bought it for my PlayStation.
Too late. You already have it.
Yeah, I didn't buy it for my Xbox. That was the other thing that made me mad. I was like, am I going to go buy this for another system so I can play it online co-op and get my achievements and live my dream? No. So now I sit here upset. Dude, you're laughing. I got Portal in my trunk of my car so I can play with my friend in San Diego so I can get an experience like no other. I'm going to spend 2 days with him so I can play this game
I want to play in co-op mode with you.
Yes. Virtual Tennis, you and me.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
There it is.
Never mind. Forget that. We're going to
Uncle
play
Leo
Virtua
and Son.
Tennis.
That's our,
I don't know
team name.
what's going on anymore. Are you guys even real or are you hologram?
We are not real.
We're digital.
I'm not real.
We're digital. All right, I'm going to close this down because there's nothing good coming out of this.
No.
Nothing good will come out of this. This is
Just
it.
put
Sony fix this.
back on. We'll be all set.
Fix
Dominatrix. For the rest of the TWiT program, we will play a track from Dominatrix on Audible.com.
Because you know what to do. You know what to do.
Her husband was on all fours.
Oh, my God. What?
And Leo will change his clothes right now to look like her.
I'm never going to be allowed on this show again. Eileen's never going to let me back on the show.
No,
every time I get
think
on
we're
the
quite
show,
enjoying you.
Stuff happens, and it's a problem.
I think we're quite enjoying you, oh, Doctor. Oh, Doctor, what is the deal with you? What is the deal? What can we plug to make you happy, to make you come back on this show? Your Twitter handle, OHDOCTAH. Oh, Doctor.
Yes.
HippoNinja.com. Instead of Doctor.com, Hippo Ninja.
Hippo Ninja. I have a project that I'm working on, and it's not a startup because nobody's paying for it but me, so I'm paying out of pocket to have it built.
Is that true? It's not a startup if it's just you?
Well, everybody says they have a startup.
That
I
is-
go to
that is
startup. I'm
the
like,
purest form
does
of
that
startup.
funding?
No, that's
Is
definitely
it
a
built?
startup.
It's not a
have the
startup.
fewest conflicts and biases.
Yeah.
I got some bad news for you. You got
That is the objective startup.
Yeah.
It's a startup.
I have a project, and until somebody gives me money, I'm not paying my own money for it. It's a project.
How much? What are you looking for?
How much?
I want to invest. I want to invest in some startups.
Okay.
Yeah, then we can write about you.
Oh, there you go. See?
Mike Arrington's waiting with a checkbook outside as we speak.
Anyway, Hippo Ninja will be built and be done in 2 weeks, and I'm looking for some tech-savvy people to test it out.
You can't tell me, by the way, that there is not a bubble going on because 3 people offered you money based on the name Hippo Ninja.
People love the name, and the worst part is people say, "Oh, go with that name. It's crazy." And I'm like, I can't use that name for what I want to do. It's just horrible. But I'm going to use the little hippo on Hippo Ninja for my 404 page.
It reminds me of a game that Dave McClure does all the time. Do you know this game? You say a name, and then I have to say a name, and we stick .com at the end, and then you have to pitch it. So you say Hippo, Leo will say Ninja. I say hipponinja.com is a site that will, teach you how to become a great ninja. But you look like
fat people.
For fat people. Here we go.
Fat
And we're
people
raising
become
$200,000 right now for this. And then you can say Python and dominatrix and give me another word. Ryan, Joshua.
Jello pop.
Hair dominatrix.com.
Hairdominatrix.com.
That's a site where you learn to become a great hairstylist. You train hairstylists on that site.
Yeah.
Great. And how much are you raising?
Tutorials.
Only
how much are you raising?
I don't know, $20.
Just enough to get the book. You see where his mind's at. He just wants
enough
to
to get
cover the audio.
I need research materials.
I have to
okay?
read the book
There it
first,
is.
he says.
So yeah, hipponinja.com. Everybody will be getting an email next week, so they'll kind of know what it's about. And fun stuff.
Little maple syrup and whiskey?
I wanted to say
Does hipponinja.com have anything to do with hairstyling?
it might for you. You'll get a special email when you sign up.
Chest hair styling.
We don't have a. I don't have
good.
Joshua Topolsky is currently found in thisismynext.com.
That's right.
And
we've got the This Is My Next podcast.
Yep.
Every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. ET.
Yep.
And it's 6:30, yeah. And and then we've got in September we're going to be launching something something much bigger than This Is My Next. There it is.
A temporary home.
Yeah.
For whatever he's up to.
We got an animated GIF on there and everything.
This is my next mouse podcast. My next dominatrix.
Wow.
We're not playing around. That's not Flash. That can run on anything.
Anything, folks.
His dominatrix can run on anything. Phone, tablet, web.
Ryan Block's already doing his next. It's called Gadget, GDGT.com.
Nice party the other night, by the way. Thanks for the free drinks and
My
making
pleasure.
me waste money.
Yeah, I thought I saw you there. I didn't get a chance to say hey.
Yeah, I was one of the 3 black people. We were good.
Really, that many?
Well,
That's a lot.
We were pushing the boundaries of the quota, brother.
For a
We were in
Silicon
there.
Valley event,
We
that's
were
a hell
rolling
of a
deep.
lot of people.
Rolling
Yeah, I was
deep.
going to say that's kind of more San Francisco.
Yeah,
I should say San Francisco technology scene anyway.
And I see something here.
I
This
think
is interesting. Gadget 2.0 is coming.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh. Ooh.
He's like,
Might
I
have to
not
kill
looked
you,
at my
Uncle Leo.
website.
Ooh.
Might have to kill you.
No, yeah,
exciting.
we've been working really hard on a new version of the site. Team has just been working like crazy.
That's great.
I'm actually going right back to the office after this. So
Are you getting new black stickers to go along with that black logo?
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
You
That's a
should.
pretty sexy looking.
You should.
Gadget logo. Sorry, bad habit.
My suggestion, don't call it Dig 4. That's all.
Yeah, I know the V4 is now cursed. So
Yeah, don't be V4
we're
of
gonna
anything.
skip V4. We won't work on the 13th floor. We're not going to have a version 4 of our software.
Some things just don't make sense.
Some numbers you got.
Thanks for being here, Ryan. We appreciate it. Loic Meur is a serial entrepreneur, a great lover of wine, the creator of LeWeb, and Seismic.com is his baby. It runs on every damn platform that's out there, including Windows Phone 7, which that says something for you. That's pretty amazing.
And Loic's new book, French Dominatrix.
Oh, yeah.
Hair
The
dominatrix.
French invented hair dominatrixes.
Yes, I believe that's true.
It's good to have you, Loic. We really
it's great
appreciate your coming
to be back.
and saying hi.
He's like,
thanks for the wine. He says, what am I doing? Never have me on with Owen J.J. Stone again. Oh, doctor.
Loic loves me. I interviewed Loic, and it was great. He couldn't understand me. I couldn't understand him. It was awesome.
You speak the same language.
Yes.
Universal
That's true,
language.
actually. That probably means my English got better. I could not understand a word of what Owen was saying.
Is that true?
No.
Oh, he wasn't joking?
Yeah, we were talking to each other, and I'm like, he's like, I can understand. I can understand too. Oh, you're speaking French. I speak English. And I was like, there was like 5 minutes back and forth where we couldn't understand what we were talking about. I started asking him about home, and he got so excited. He was talking really fast. And, and then he's like, you're talking fast. It was funny.
I love it. Thank you all for being here. Reminder, we will be covering the Google I.O. coverage. Our keynote coverage begins Tuesday, 9 a.m. Pacific. That's 12 noon Eastern Time. Jeff Jarvis, Tom Merritt will be in studio. Gina Trapani and I will be at the keynote. And we will also do the Wednesday keynote coverage, but we'll do that during our show This Week in Google, which is at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. All at live.twit.tv. We also plan coverage of E3. We're going to be down there. That'll be a lot of fun. That's coming up in just a few weeks. Hard to believe. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. We thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time. Another Twit.
This is amazing. Doing the twit. All right. Doing the twit, baby. Doing the twit. All right.
Another smooth transition to Skype.
God.
Everybody I know who's upgraded to Skype has a nightmare.
I downgraded. I went right back. I was on it for a week, and I had to go.
Well,
back.
that's what Skype did. Is they ended up putting. There we go.
Yeah, I'm on 2.8 now, or whatever it is for the
They ended
Mac.
up putting 2.8, and now there's a an exploit on 5 that somebody can send you a message on Skype and take over your system on Mac.
Is this chest offending anybody? I just realized.
Yeah, Josh, really button that shit up.
Is that bothering you?
Wow.
You look like one of the vampires from Twilight. You're just missing a little bit of sparkle.
Actually, a vampire. It's. I guess the secret is out now.
You got the tone right. You're just missing the sparkles. You got the hair.
No, you can't see me sparkling. It must be the Skype connection.
Oh yeah, low quality feed.
Apparently, Dan knew exactly what to do. He leant forward and pressed his lips to Barbara's left shoe, kissing and licking the red leather. He gradually worked his way around the back.
Whoa!
So that he could put his head between them to get at the inner surface.
I can't find the pause button.
Oh, Uncle Leo.
I couldn't hear any of that because you guys were screaming like.
You don't want to hear what's going on. Somebody was reaching around the back.
Am I a hologram?
Yes, you became virtual.
It's Mother's Day, Uncle Leo. It's Mother's Day.
You've been deconstructed.
He's de-rezzing.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, what?
Clean off the camera. It's time for Twit episode 3. Okay, I know what to do. Oh, Doctor and the Dominatrix coming up next on Twit. Honest, I'll do it. Don't hit me. We're not going to use that.
But in French.
In French. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, episode 300. 300.
Il faut écouter Tweet.
Oui. What he said. What's this guy? Who let him in?